Are we live? Hello,
Are we live?
everybody. Welcome to Advantage in Paradise. I'm pretty sure Alex went live, so I'm just going to talk to you.
Okay, you're good.
Welcome, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise, our Monday night actual play D&D stream. Please settle in and get yourselves comfortable for what's promised to be a combat-heavy start to this session, and then we'll see what happens in the aftermath. We'll save that for the recap, just as a reminder. Our audio, particularly our music, is from Sirenscape. Our music is licensed through Soundstripe, and our ambiance is through Sirenscape. So go ahead and check those out, particularly Sirenscape for your own games at home. They're great resources. I'm going to turn it over now to Shannon, who has a few announcements as well as a few shout-outs.
Yes, I do. We are officially less than 100 to go before we hit 2K on Twitter. Woo! When we get there, we will be giving away volumes 1 and 2 of the quarterly from the Underground Oracle. I am also giving away some beautiful looking dice from Die Hard Dice. So we're almost there. Let's do this. I also want to take a second and talk about Jasper's Game Day. Myself and Sean will be playing in games for Jasper's Game Day this week. Jasper's Game Day is a teen suicide prevention and awareness charity that was started in 2017 by Fenway Jones. You can visit jaspersgameday.com to learn more, and definitely give that video a watch if you haven't watched it yet. It gives you a lot of insight onto how this event got started. It's a really beautiful cause. So be sure to check that out this week. Starts on Wednesday and goes all the way through Sunday. All right, here we go. Our partners we love them all. We have Arcane Spectacles, who has just launched their website for their upcoming Kickstarter. They will be offering their classic spell trackers in different hardwoods, now including cherrywood. You can sign up on their website to get notified when it launches. And when you do, you can snag some early bird specials on day one. We are also doing a giveaway from them tonight. We are going to be giving away a AC tracker, and I pinky promise I know how to do it now. So it's going to go smoothly. There's going to be no problems, and it's going to be great. We're also working on some Paradice themed products with them, so stay tuned for that. And if you would like to purchase anything from their Etsy shop, be sure to enter the code Paradice, Paradice, for 10% off anything in their Etsy shop. We also are partnered with Talon and Claw, who have been super busy lately. They are making very good progress on their Whiskey Dice Vaults, and they will be relaunching their dual Hex Hero Vaults with custom character class art by Jester. Really cool look. If you haven't checked it out, go check out their Twitter. You can also use the code Paradice for 10% off your order if you'd like to order anything from them. The Underground Oracle are the creators of D&D 5e supplements. If you haven't checked out their Patreon yet, definitely do that. You can sign up for either $3 or $6 a month, and you can get access to all of their amazing content. And Jess and Keith are just wonderful human beings, so definitely go give them your support. Last but not least, we have Eddie York, who did all of the original character art for our heroes. You can check him out on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon, and definitely support him if you can on Patreon. He shows a lot of behind-the-scenes things on how he paints, and he's just a really cool guy. So that's all I got. Let's play some D&D and not die, hopefully.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Shannon. I guess we can jump right into the fun part, to the D&D. All right. So, with a broken leg healed through the quiet sobbing of a beleaguered Scarlet, you all came to terms with the truth that Thatcher, leader of the Highland Butchers, was indeed Scarlet, or shall we say Willow, or Rowan, not
Who's
Willow.
that?
Who's Willow?
Just another kind of tree.
That's a good point. Rowan's lost brother. This truth was known by the party, but was only revealed at this point to Scarlet, much to her dismay and disbelief. But through the comforting words of her companions, she was able to, at the very least, collect herself enough to continue the journey. With this truth still stinging in the veins, you ushered your cart and wagon onward to a new destiny and a new goal. Timber's wife was still out there somewhere in the thralls of the butchers. Two rumored facilities exist, one in the mountains to the west and one in the claustrophobic forests of Taramran, a place known to you only as the home of the Wood Elves and all other manner of fey creatures. You've only met two folk who may have any familiarity with this location. Uh, the Satyr Mandrick and your traveling companion for a short amount of time, Captain Valen, who, to at least Scarlet, admitted that he was exiled from Taramran only through the saving grace of General Kinsley due to potential execution that was going to happen to him. He called his people strict. With this knowledge, you've chosen the woodland realms where you will go to explore and try to find Timber's wife. Bogdasha seemed to know more about this region, Bogdasha being Timber's contact that gave him this info. She said that the butchers may be holding Timber's wife hostage in order to utilize her skills within magical tinkering and other sorts of enchantments. So with this, you journeyed onward through the vestiges of farmland in the region. As you passed through this countryside, you took a brief moment as you needed to force your cart and wagon through overgrown lands. In this moment, you reflected upon a husk of an old farmhouse with a tree felled down the middle. In the overgrown field, Cal and Curon both discovered the remains of who was likely the resident of this home. Cal grew embittered by this as Curon performed a ritual and using his sacred flames from Ilyuvania ushered the remains into the beyond. Later that night, you stopped to rest and try to enjoy the evening. Robert brought out the whiskey he took from Embla's tavern to share with his new comrades. Perhaps it was the liquor or the rushing of emotion he felt over the last few days since he had performed his first killing of one of the butchers who was attacking Timber, actually, and him and Embla. He questioned several things, particularly his questions bringing to mind the reason you're all together, and perhaps him asking, one, why you're together, and two, are you the good guys? Inspired a bit of quiet contemplation of the nature of this fellowship. But his questions also brought forth further prying into the politics of the Quintarchy. Cal seemed overwhelmed and embittered by the idea that a lord would even let his servants fall into such chaos and disarray. Most of the rest of the party seemed surprised by his surprise of these practices. But still, he believed it couldn't be so bad, that this must be such a cruel and terrible, noble lineage. But soon, you all found your sleep for the night. The next day's journey brought you deeper into the destitute countryside, but soon you felt comfortable trekking onto the main northern road. As you pushed northward for most of the day, the only individuals you passed were a cloaked pair. One was a half-orc and the other an unidentifiable individual. You and this party questioned one another briefly and seemed to grow mutually suspicious of one another. They particularly exclaimed that there was nothing of interest in the north for such a party to be traveling there. But you pressed onward, now watching your heels a bit more, both for this pair, but also you are still being, in some way, potentially pursued. But soon you found yourselves within the Revival Lumber Works township. A sad sort of work town with ramshackle structures and property all owned by the single company known as the Revival. You noticed no guards, save a small group of soldiers that wore armor in the liking of the army of Zverls that attacked Driftmarch, the same army that you fended off some time ago. With your task in mind, you did not tarry long in this company town. You found refuge in the tavern and prepped to enter the forest the next morning. Rocky, Embla's stable hand, stayed behind to tend to your cart, wagon, and supplies, all too burdensome to bring with you into the forest line, which was thick with large ancient trees that you also noticed some nefarious-looking mist enveloping these trees. Timber noticed large fungal pillars growing out of the forest top, which gave him pause. Which inspired him to purchase several scars for you to wear as masks as you entered into this forest line. But as you rested for the night and prepared for the next morning, you all, including Robert and Embla, began your journey northward and entered into the forest line, following the river upstream. You soon found the air ripe with a miasma all around. Luckily, Timber had purchased the scars for you to mask and keep and fend off the strange noxious mist. You had noticed several patches of fungus that were attaching themselves to the boughs of the ancient trees all around. It grew denser and thicker in the region as you moved forward. But the miasma wasn't the only thing in the air, as Timber quickly smelt the aroma of freshly spilt blood. He rushed forward ahead of the party, dashing into the woods, eager to find the source of this smell. And soon he found himself in a small open glade with an overgrown, ruined tower that seemed almost to have sunken back out of the soil in its foundation, exposing most of its interior, as well as a small opening that leads somewhere beneath the tower, potentially its basement. The upper arches of the tower had collapsed far beyond where this ruin lay. But more than just this ruined tower was an array of freshly slain corpses all around that looked as though they were some of the residents and potentially soldiers of the Sveral army that had wandered this far into the forest northward. In this moment, Timber was overcome with the just sheer amount of blood that had been spilt in this region, and something took hold of him. Something took hold as he heard in his mind a strange voice he had never heard before, deep, guttural, broken, like coming from a void. It penetrated his mind and beseeched him to feast. He turned at that point into what to you would only seem a feral monster. Quickly, you used spells to pacify him, but only to you, as he swiftly, without a target, just began devouring the corpses that lay around, in a display that none of you have seen before, that reminded you of the vicious nature of Timber's situation, curse. It is in this moment you each attempted your own way. Cal tackled the feral Timber, but ultimately it was Wiswick's suggestion spell that got the beast to flee, as he said, while also singing a lullaby to him, ordered him to run off into the woods and find a nice place to sleep. In that moment, Timber's feral form immediately stood up straight, looked to each of you, and then, with one last growl, dashed off into the woods beyond. It was in this moment, and all during this encounter, you had heard rustling in the distance and the sounds of footsteps, as you would notice briefly a few figures stepping through the woods that had insectoid-like form that looked to some of you like mantis humanoids. They had green carapace that shimmered over a orange underbelly that all glittered, and they held large, crude weapons. And they distracted you for a moment, but Wiswick and Curon immediately dashed off into the woods on their horses to chase after Timber. And in this moment, this entire time, Scarlet had frozen, unable to act, still overwhelmed somewhat with her emotional state. Cal drew his one of his blades as you all noticed these creatures starting to notice your position, hearing the growls and roars of Timber. And then in the last moments of the session, you heard cracking and ripping of treetops as a creature moved through the treetops with several appendages ripping and cutting and pulling itself through the forest top and eventually landing on the second layer of the tower, its mandible sticking out, these long scythe-like claws, this mouth with a layer after layer of serrated teeth that were part of its shimmering green mandibles, large insectoid wings, a set of 4, all outstretched as it roared into the air, a ear-piercing cry that felt like it vibrated your entire skeleton. And that's where we left off. So,
Only 16 minutes, Sean. Nice job.
oh, that one felt quicker than last week's, which was a record 7 minutes, I think.
Agreed. I was enthralled the entire time, Sean, so you did great.
Oh, thanks. All right, so we got a few things to do. First things first, I would like you all to roll initiative.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Okay, 20 to 25.
Woof.
All right, 15 to 19.
16. Oh my god.
Woof.
10 to 15.
15.
14.
Cal had 15, and what did Wiswick have?
14.
And what did you get, Kieran, and what did you get, Timber?
That's gonna be a 6 for me.
6.
Wait, you want me to roll initiative?
Yeah.
Alex, no!
Alex, yeah.
Oh, well, I got a natural 20 plus
Oh my god.
plus 24.
Jesus.
Sorry, I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready for that either. I thought I just wasn't playing this session.
Oh no, you're gonna be playing.
Oh,
Don't worry.
okay.
Alex is like, oh, I didn't really want to play.
Yeah, Alex is like, damn, I had prepared to do nothing.
I got my Switch here.
I was gonna nap.
I was gonna take a nice nap.
I'm gonna put sunglasses on and nap.
It's okay, you can watch me. Close my eyes.
All right. Embla real quick. Robert.
God damn it! I
Robert.
can't believe I wasted my natural 20 on
Oh God. Okay. All right. So, as a reminder for the environment to everyone, this is a very large glade. The tower peaks up, so there is, for Cal and Scarlet, what you would be able to see around you is one, the mantis drake creature dragon is on top of the tower, kind of coming down from it. It hasn't immediately noticed you, but it's gonna notice you pretty quickly if you don't do anything about it. You have your horses around you, so you have both of your horses and Embla's horses there. There are creatures in the brush, but they haven't joined the conflict yet. You're mainly just seeing this creature above you, but there does seem to be other entities nearby. Your allies have run off to the right of where you currently are. Wiswick and Curon, you are still on your horses and chasing after Timber. So you will be able to catch up to him at some point, depending. And that's our current situation. So what I want to start with is actually Timber.
Who?
You know,
Who is that?
Kaze.
Yes.
Kaze. So, Timber, in your feral form, you are rushing through the woods at this point, branches ripping as you're squeezing through small sections of the trees to try to find a space far away and in the trees to, in the suggestion to take a nap. You are. There is a hunger that overcomes that a little bit, and you're not truly. You're really just moving instinctually with no goal of doing much at all. There's a point when you kind of trip and your body kind of tumbles down a hill slightly and into a small open space where you're kind of on your side. It's by open I mean there's at least like you can see some of the ground. It's not covered with overgrowth. And immediately you start to heave and dry heave until much of the flesh you just consumed is vomited back out. Just as you gorged yourself so much that it's just too much for your body to handle, despite the creature that has taken over your form. And it's in this moment that your bestial form kind of stands up and looks around. A low growl echoing around. You can hear some birds in the distance. Your sensitive hearing hears the of your friends chasing after you. But then suddenly you see the trees almost feel like they're twisting and ebbing and flowing, like you're hallucinating as light begins to intensify from behind them. The late afternoon sun is starting to shine brighter and brighter until it then kind of gets sucked in, almost like in a black hole, fades away as the light between the branches completely disappears. The branches themselves becoming as dark as night, as all light begins to fade from around you, and only thing giving any light off is the slow, small burn of your red eyes. And then suddenly the entire world outside vanishes. None of the rain or breaking branches or your footsteps of your allies, as almost like a spotlight down on you is a pillar of twilight light that just comes down, and it illuminates dimly the trees around as if you had like a bright light in the middle of the forest at the darkest hour of the night. And your form just sort of is just sort of sniffing and smelling, trying to find whatever entity is doing this. And as you turn, suddenly there is a coming, just fluttering out of the darkness and clawing at your back is a form of a black owl. You turn and swipe for it, but you miss it. And then another out of a different part comes and hits its claws at your back, and you swipe at it again. And then a third one comes right for your face, and this one you do swipe, but it just turns to nothing but shadowy mist that envelops around you, and you can feel kind of entering into your lungs as you're getting angrier and angrier, as then you sort of look about and just sort of see opening all at once the eyes of dozens of owls all around, with those starry eyes of your patron. And you hear coming from your mouth, but not from you, a voice, the voice from your head that just says in that guttural, broken, voidified voice, "He's mine." And there's quiet. And then suddenly, the dozens of owls just swarm all around you, and just sort of envelop you. And there, for a moment, your vision fades to complete darkness, as suddenly you feel that shroud of darkness around you as you start to hear slowly in the distance, and then slowly hear the rain start to return, bird in the distance, a loud roaring, about 100 or 150 feet away. You retch again as light starts to come back between the trees. And now you're not retching any like flesh; it's just blood that you're retching at, and it's a constant flow, an unnatural amount, more than you consumed. And then the light between the trees grows brighter. The fog returns around you as you are in this glade. And you have control of your mind again. You just barely recall the events that have just happened as you see and hear Curon and Wiswick, which the two of you have reached up above this hill where he is, and you can see him down below. You have one kind of action you can take at this point amongst each other, speaking and what you want to do next.
So we see him from this hilltop.
Yes, you would see him. What you see is you kind of come up and you kind of look around because you think you've lost him. But then you can kind of see down below, and Timber, you would hear them calling for you. And you would see Timber kind of like on all fours, and you see this just mess of blood that he's just vomited up onto the ground. And then you would see just for a moment as he turns and sees you, just out of the brush flying past both of you at super fast speed is a dark black owl that darts past you. And then just sort of you see it positions itself up in a tree looking down at you. This Timber, you would have seen that owl darting back up towards the up the hill.
Yuran! Is that you?
Yes, me and Wiswick are here. We're coming to you.
Okay.
With that, we will now enter initiative order. I'll say that took up Timber's first round, which will bring us to the insect dragon's turn.
Lovely.
It rolled.
Damn it.
It rolled pretty high. Not as high as Timber, but it rolled pretty high. All right, so you watch and you can see this creature is just sort of staring down, and you're both kind of standing still at this point, and your horses immediately are terrified and are making as much noise as terrified horses are. They're gonna run away, and the creature just sort of, its eyes just immediately dart to you. You can see it has 3 eyes, one large one in the center of its face and 2 on the sides, and it just immediately just starts tearing towards you. Comes down right here.
It's too close.
And is gonna go for a bunch of attacks on Cal.
Oh, can it not?
It immediately, Cal, you kind of immediately turn as this creature moves extraordinarily fast to come down and sort of lands in the ground. You can see these several legs clawing into the ground. These 2 scythe-like arms, and then 2 smaller arms within, articulating as you see these 2 claws just go as the first 2 attacks are going to go for you.
Okay.
Wow, wee wah.
Those are both 22s to hit. Both of them are 22.
Yeah, that'll hit.
All right. The first one is 14 points of slashing damage. The second one is also 14 points of slashing damage.
Okay, I'm gonna use parry on one of those.
Okay.
Tim's like, I did not sign up to die today.
To
This is
reduce
not the day I
that
die.
by 11 damage.
Okay. And then it is going to go for a tail swipe
Ooh, love me a good tail swipe.
Oh.
that you and Scarlet will both need to give me dex saving throws for.
Well, that's an 11, but I'm going to use evasion.
17 for me, Sean.
Okay. Evasion. Remind me. Evasion just has damage.
It's just constant. So
Yeah, I know. But what's the effect of it?
If half damage
I don't
if
remember.
I fail, no damage if I succeed.
Okay. Cool. All right. We both failed.
Oh,
17 failed? Fuck.
This is where Sean TP gazes.
well, no, he kills two
That's
of our members. Rest
13 points of bludgeoning damage. Shannon, you can reduce that by half. And I need you both to give me strength saving throws.
Fuck.
There we go. 24, Sean.
Yeah, you're good. You didn't fall prone.
Fuck right off with that shit.
Shannon, what'd you get?
11.
11. Shannon, you are now prone. Knocked prone. Gonna break that leg all over again.
No.
I worked so hard to heal you. How dare you?
Okay. That will be the end of its turn, which will bring us to Robert's turn.
Oh my
Robert.
god. You go higher than us.
Run away. Robert should run away right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Robert just like takes one look at Cal, to kind of be like,
And Cal would wave like, "Go, get out of here."
and Robert will immediately just start. It's luckily this isn't a Tyrannosaurus Rex who just sees him and just like going for that. But no, Robert is back here easily. You see him dart off into the woods to the southwest. With Robert kind of fleeing, or at the very least finding somewhere to hide, that brings us to Cal, or no, Scarlet, with Cal on deck.
Okay. When I was reading the description for the Cloak of Elvenkind, it said that it's an action to pull the hood up. I'm also currently not wearing it, so how do you want to do that?
If you're not wearing it, then you're not attuned to it, so it's not going to work.
No,
Woof.
I slept with it.
you,
Left with a cloak?
That's Caleb's.
That's not
It's like
weird.
a
at
weird
all.
fucking thing to have sex with, but alright.
Oh.
Okay. Not what I meant at
Shannon.
all. Yeah.
Shannon.
Mm.
Should have tried a decapitated head.
I
Sorry.
could allow you to have. There's been enough time that you could have attuned to it for sure by this point.
Yeah.
If you would like to have done that, that's no problem.
Okay.
No problem.
But I will abide by the pulling the hood up as an action required.
Okay. Okay, so I will do that. Pull the hood up, and then bonus action hide. Can I like try?
Okay,
and-
where would you like to
So my
try to move away to hide?
my thought is that I would try and hide as a dead body, and like kind of get up next to the corpse that's on the ground in front of me, so I can like crawl forward a little bit.
Okay, that's gonna have a slightly higher DC than if you were like somewhere else.
Mhm.
But you should be pretty. It's still that's a viable option. So go ahead and give me that stealth roll, and I'll just have you kind of like, as you're prone, instead of doing much, you're just sort of like.
Rolled a 1 and a 2.
No.
Yeah, I did. So
Okay.
that's 12.
I'm
'cause
concerned.
I have a plus 10.
I'm in danger.
I'm concerned.
I'm in danger. This is fine. It's fine.
Stranger danger.
Okay, so Shannon, you rolled a 12, and I'll write that down. 12 stealth. Okay. That leads us to Embla's turn. Or no, Cal. And then Embla's on deck.
Okay, I'm gonna use second wind first. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
And I'm regaining. Yes, thank you. I'm regaining 17 health. That's excellent. That's excellent. Okay. I'm
Okay.
gonna attack it, Sean. I'm gonna attack it. I'm gonna
let's
swing
Go for
the
it.
prongs of the black at it. Yeah. That's a 20. It's a lot. It's 26.
Oh, yeah, that'll hit.
Okay, I'm gonna make it a disarming strike
Okay.
for 18 damage.
18 damage
Yeah.
total. And that includes
Yeah.
the acid damage.
Oh no, sorry. Good freaking call, bro. It's 19 damage. That's what it
Bruh.
is.
All right, 19 damage.
I'm gonna attack again, Sean.
Yeah. Fighter it up.
Fighter it up.
For a natural 20, so a 28.
Excellent.
Yeah, that'll hit.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna make it a disarming strike, Sean,
Okay.
for double dice of I can do math of 18 of 22. So plus 8 is plus 7 is 29.
29 points of
Damage.
damage.
Yeah. I'm then gonna action surge, Sean,
All right.
There you
Probably
go.
a good time to use it.
Wow.
and I'm gonna attack again
Wait, are you gonna attack?
for 18 to hit.
18 to hit. That'll definitely hit.
And I
Oh
make
wait,
it a
no,
disarming-
sorry. I got so used to you using really high numbers. 18 does not hit.
I'm gonna make it a precision strike.
Okay.
Does a 26 hit, Sean?
Yeah, that'll hit.
Okay, I'm gonna do 18 points of damage,
18 points of damage. Okay.
and then I'm gonna attack again, Sean,
Yes, I know. You got your action, sir. Go
for a
it.
27 to hit. I'm gonna make that a
That'll
disarming
hit.
strike, Sean.
That'll hit.
How many superiority dice do you have, Tim?
Yeah.
That would be all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, are you using them all?
God.
He used like one on almost all of those.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
parry.
For 20 damage,
And
Sean.
then all four.
I mean, this is you need a good opening, like
Oh,
For
yeah.
20
damage on
damage,
this guy.
Sean, and if I can, I'd like to remove one of its arms with all those disarming strikes.
I would say with 3 disarming strikes and dealing a total of oh my goodness, you dealt 86 damage there.
Woo.
I'll say 86 damage is enough to rip one of its scythes
Thank
off.
you. I didn't even punch it.
As you just sort of bring the prongs to the black, Cal, you see Scarlet kind of drop down to the ground and sort of, just sort of like you see her immediately like, just trying to play dead, as this creature is just sort of looking around, contemplating its next meal, and then you see a sort of
I become a flurry of steel.
exactly right after it's ripped its claws against your chest. You feel the warm blood come in, and then it just gets you ready to hop in for 4 swipes of the prongs of the black. And you see it's trying to bring its mandibles up to protect itself, and by the last blow, you just wrap the prongs of the black across the cracked carapace of one of its sides and rip as you see it just sort of as it splatters out onto you.
I'm gonna use my free action to catch the. No, I'm not. All right. That would be very cool, though.
You'll take 8 points of acid damage as its blood splatters onto you. But
Yeah, that's
it
problematic.
has lost one of its scythe attacks. Okay. Anything else? Want to punch it?
I can't. I use my bonus action to second.
Head-
Oh,
it.
that's right. That's right. Okay, that brings us to Embla's turn, who kind of at this point like just looks over at you, Cal, and you can kind of see out of the corner of your eye after your last strike, as she's just sort of like, "Holy fuck!" And you see her dash forward. Well, not dash, but walk forward, and she kind of puts herself between Scarlet and the monster, kind of noticing Scarlet having fallen down. And you can see her, being knocked prone and then kind of splatting herself down as if she were dead. The monster might not have fallen for it, but Embla kind of fell for it. As she's gonna go in, she pulls out a short sword and she pulls out a rapier, and a dagger. She goes in for 2 attacks. They both do not breach its carapace, though. As you see her bring the rapier forward, and it just sort of skitters across the rough carapace of the creature, and then kind of tries to bring the dagger in to find leverage between the plates of armor, and just can't quite get it. So she just sort of preps herself, looks down at Scarlet, and is kind of like, Scarlet, you kind of look up for a moment and see she's contemplating disengaging. She might be a rogue.
I was just gonna say, I know that.
But she looks down and sort of stands her ground above you,
Thanks,
which will then bring us to Wiswick and Curon, who are with Timber at this point, with Timber on deck. Wiswick, you are up first. Curon, you're up next. You guys are a horse's dash away, so like a horse's movement and dash away from the combat.
Would we have heard? Sorry, yeah.
I'll say, since you guys left before the monster came, when I said that creature's cry was ear-piercing, I mean, like, entities within 500 feet of this heard it quite clearly.
Understood.
So yeah, so you are about 120 feet from the edge of the kind of glade, and maybe 150 from the actual beast itself.
Okay, so the first thing Wiswick's gonna do is stop concentrating on suggestion, because he sees that
You would have felt it
Timbers.
break when you got there anyway,
Oh, okay, cool.
which is something Wiswick would definitely note, that somehow it broke before you ended the spell.
Is the spectral or scary owl still there watching us, or
Yes.
yeah? Wiswick's gonna look to Curon and just be like, "Do you see that? I think they need our help back with Cal and Scarlet. Look at that bird. Isn't it weird?" And he's gonna try and roll an Arcana check to identify the creature.
Okay, give me an Arcana check.
I rolled a 5 plus 10, so 15.
It's certainly spooky. I mean, to you, like, you can I'd say you'd have a hard time deciding if this was, there's 2 things that stand out to you with a 15. One, there could be any number of fey creatures within this forest. It is so saturated with magic that anything could exist here. Like, this place is a bewilderment to you with how dense the magic is. Second, though, it does look slightly out of place in its shadowy nature from the Feywild around, though it could have other nefarious Fey existences. But it is, the most peculiar thing is just that it is here, and Timber is right there, and that it is watching you. But you do not know its origin. You don't know that it's immediately connected to Timber in any way. It's just a strange owl that's within a magically dense forest, essentially, that's watching you.
Okay, so I'm guessing that took up my action. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, "Okay, guys, I'm gonna head back now. Timber, you're feeling better, right?" And he doesn't even wait for an answer. He just
Yeah.
he just
Turns
whips
Jasper
the reins
around.
or kicks him a little. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. So Jasper starts running back towards the tower square, where you heard the shout of the roar of the monster.
And yeah, as I rush past the owl, I say, "I'm watching you too."
It seems to pay you no heed as it keeps its eyes fixed on Curon. Curon, you are up.
As I stare back at this owl for a moment, is there any way that Kieran would know what this is? Like, even an inkling? Like, I don't want to waste a roll per se, but like...
Yeah. You're proficient in religion?
Yeah.
If you don't want to give me a roll for it, you can give me your passive insight if you'd like.
Passive insight is a 17.
Which is not going to be exactly like the same as if you rolled a 17. It's going to be less
Right.
information. But I'd say two things stand out to you. It's just a strange creature to see. You're not foreign though to omens, and it feels to you like an omen. This creature. What that means exactly, you're unsure. You're unfamiliar with any omens that are represented by a black owl. You are struck though with a sense of divinity behind it though.
Okay. Cool.
Your familiarity with divine magic just makes you sensitive to the fact that this owl is emanating some kind of divine magic.
All right, giving one last look at Timber, kind of like with a silent like nod, like you okay? He sees that slight nod in return, and then whoosh, whips the reins to head back. With the dash, that gets me how close to the creature?
You'll be within 5, 10, 20, 30. You'll be within 50 feet of it.
All right, perfect.
50 feet of it.
Gonna ride up and then cast some spiritual weapons.
Give me a quick animal handling check as you become within sight of the creature.
11.
Rocco begins to freak out, and you're having a lot of trouble getting him to completely enter into the within 50 feet. He's starting to kind of like rear his legs up and kind of trying to kick you off to run away into the woods, essentially. You could do one of two things. You can use an action to try to calm him down, or you can get off of him and use your normal speed to get into the fray.
Well, I just want to clarify that the dash would have been my action to begin with. So does that?
No, it's Rocco's action.
Oh.
Yeah, when you're mounted combat, you have both you have your action and the horse's.
That changes everything. So then instead, what Kieran's gonna do is dismount. Then he's just gonna just slide right off, and hope that Rocco doesn't go too far. And then instead of that, he's gonna cast Guiding Bolt at 4th level.
Okay. So you're not quite in the so you're just off frame from the battle cam, but you definitely are within range to cast that on the beast. So go ahead and give me that attack roll, the spell attack roll.
Okay, don't know where that went. All right, that's a 23.
23, that'll hit.
Dope. So that is 76s.
That's a lot of dice.
That's a satisfying sound.
Yeah, unfortunately the roll was not such. 9, 15 radiant.
15 radiant damage. Okay. And that gives advantage on the next attack on the creature.
Correct.
Excellent. So you would all notice as you're kind of, and Kieran, you would get up there, and the first thing you would see is kind of Cal ripping a claw off of this creature as Embla is attempting to attack it. Scarlet on the ground, kind of looking somewhat unconscious. Robert has run away. The horses are all about to run away. In the top of the round, but it's absolute chaos right now. But the rest of you see these bolts of radiant light swoosh past the battlefield and sort of boom, 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 just sort of all barrage into the side of the creature, cracking its carapace a little bit and creating these nice, perfect, light-filled spots that would have just a juicy hit on with advantage. And that will be the end of Kieran's turn, which will bring us to Timber's turn. So Timber, what is your movement speed, by the way? It's like
45
okay,
as a hybrid.
Cool. Because you're a little bit further away than they were, and you'd have to get up the hill, so it might take you a little bit more than a dash and movement speed to get there.
Okay. Timber is going to, after getting up the hill, give a glance at the owl and close his eyes and give a slight bow. Not bow, but like a submission of the head, and then
And you would have, and when you came up, you would have noticed the owl was staring. You would have noticed that direct, like, weird eye contact between the owl and Timber, or not Timber, Huron, and then it would immediately turn its head to you. And as you give your head bow to it, it just sort of, you see it, it dashes off northward in the direction that you were heading originally.
Okay. But Timber, seeing his friends run southward, he's going to go into a dash southward. Can I see the dragon mantis?
From your position, or from
after dashing?
After dashing. So let's see. Yeah. So you would. Yeah. There would be some brush in the way, but you would be able to see kind of through the tree line, because you're not quite out of the tree line yet. You're at the kind of the approaching the edge of it, but it becomes sparse enough that you have visuals and you can kind of see the bolts of light. You see the claws moving about. You see this acidic blood flying out of its wound.
How many feet would you say?
And see, with your dash, that's 90 feet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he is about 70. The creature's about 70 feet away.
All right, I'm gonna cast Hex on it.
Hex. All right. And what is the skill check that you wanted to have disadvantage on?
Strength.
Okay.
If somebody wants to grapple it.
Yeah, that'll work.
Cal, here's your time to shine. You just ripped off one of its legs. Now
Yeah,
let me just
wrestle this.
All right. So it is the mantis's turn now. It is going to lift its long neck up into the air, and those of you close enough can see kind of the plates of its carapace on its neck kind of open up a little bit. And you can kind of like see like it's opening up into its literal like larynx, its throat, as it just lifts its head up almost like a horn, and then you just hear this like thrumming sound inside of its chest, and then just sort of a as you just hear this like screeching roar that sounds like Lord of the Rings reference, Nazgul, but even louder and more ear-piercing, and it is just vibrating your entire being. And I need everyone within 60 feet of it, so pretty much
I'm
everyone
70.
except for Wiswick and Timber needs to give me a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh.
Luckily, I'm proficient in those.
Luckily, Tim's proficient in those.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pretty good roll in the end of the day.
I hate to do this, but weren't there bug people with this giant dragon?
Yeah.
thing?
They just haven't revealed themselves yet.
Oh, okay.
They're in you.
Because they didn't step
in
out
me?
from the forest line yet. Don't worry, I got them right here.
They might not be evil bug people. They may just be confused and scared bug people.
Maybe this is their evil.
Yeah, they show up and they're like, "Hey, thanks for killing that." Jeez.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past me.
But all right, Cal, what'd you get?
I, Sean, got a 19.
19. Okay. Shannon, what'd you get? Scarlet.
8.
8. Okay. And Kieran, what'd you get?
22.
Woohoo.
22. Okay, so Kieran and Cal both succeeded. That is, you take 7 points of thunder damage. Scarlet, you take 13 points of thunder damage. And Scarlet, you are considered stunned until the start of its next turn, or the end of its start of its next turn.
But she's thinks she's lying on the ground, not moving anyways.
I had things I was gonna do.
Okay. All right. That is its action. And it is now top of the order. So it is going to... Nope, that's not what it is. That's not when that happens. It's Robert's turn. Robert is still hiding in the woods. It is now Scarlet's turn. Scarlet, you are stunned for your turn. Which then brings us to Cal's turn.
Okay. Well, I'm going to drink the health potion I've had on me for a long time. Which is here. Okay. Thank God I didn't
Absolutely.
share that a while ago. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about doing a nice character moment where I gave it
Yeah.
a little bit to like Scarlet. I didn't know.
I do love splitting health potions because it's just so easy. It's just a great thematic thing to do.
And while it's not a ton. Okay. Gaining back 5 whole health points. I then will attack.
Okay, go for it.
That's pretty good. That's 24 to hit.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
Excellent. It's 15 damage.
15 damage. Nice. And that's with the acid?
Yep.
Excellent.
Second attack, Talon and Claw. Rolling hot tonight. Is a 25 to hit.
That'll definitely hit.
Is 13 damage.
13 damage is great.
I attack it in the spot that's glowing.
Oh, did you use advantage with it?
No, I didn't.
You...
So I don't attack.
Oh!
It. So I don't know.
Okay,
Never mind.
but your first attack you did advantage, right?
No, I didn't use advantage at all.
Oh, your first attack should have had advantage because of the glowing spot. So go ahead and roll again to see if you got a nat 20.
I didn't.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So Cal, you keep whipping the prongs of the black at this creature. I imagine almost kind of like a lion tamer, kind of just like ja, ja, as the creature's just sort of like just releasing this guttural screeches out of this like strange wind instrument that is its throat, as it is kind of crawling because one of its mandibles is severed. But this at the end of your turn, though, Cal, it is going to use a legendary action to start to emit from the holes in its neck a noxious cloud of miasma that starts to envelop the space around it in a 30-foot radius around it. So, Kieran, this doesn't affect you. But Scarlet,
does it affect Scarlet and I because we were wearing those scarves earlier?
I will give you advantage on the saving throw because you're wearing the
Lovely.
scarves.
What can I
Is it a straight roll for me because I'm stunned?
Say that again, Scarlet.
Is it a straight roll for me because I'm stunned?
I think so, because it doesn't stun give you. You automatically fail.
You fail
Strength and dex.
Well,
and
it's
attacks have advantage.
Not... Okay, no, you don't automatically fail it because it is a con saving throw.
Cool.
Though you may also not make any actions or reactions because you're stunned.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
but you can.
incapacitated.
You can do saving.
Yeah.
You can do saving throws as long as they're not strength or dex. So you do.
With
still
the
have
advantage, it's an 18.
Okay.
You're an
No.
advantage.
Oh, thank you.
For the sun,
Natural
You're
the
welcome.
sky, and the moon.
All right, so you both
What can I
make
say?
the save, and take half damage and are not considered poisoned. Scarlet, you take no damage. So Cal, half of 12 is 6 points of poison damage, and neither of you are considered poisoned. Embla is going to take the full damage, and she is considered poisoned as you see her starting to cough and struggle breathing.
I'll start to sweat a little here, folks.
A little.
All right.
Well, if somebody hadn't scratched up my torso 3 seconds ago,
Oh yes.
Forgot about that.
I came into this pretty wounded, like 16 or 17 points wounded.
Yeah. All right, Cal, you are up, and then Embla's on deck, and then Wiz.
Hmm.
Whiz.
I'm
Or
definitely
no,
not
no,
up.
no, no, no. Sorry, Cal. That was at the end of your turn that he used
Yeah,
the direction.
I would have taken it, but I didn't want to cheat, Sean.
Thank you for your honesty.
You're welcome.
I'll
You
go
are
again, though, so I'm going to attack it.
You are awarded no points for being a good person.
I only reward rapscallionism.
All right, so Embla gets her her first attack off on the creature, which is going to have sneak attack for her. Oh, nice. Okay, so that is a lot of damage. So you see, what is that total? Okay, wow. She, you see her kind of coughing. Oh wait, I should do that with disadvantage because she's poisoned. Okay, she still hits. She comes rushing forward, kind of through the cough. She kind of repositions herself. You see her almost taking a moment to pause and take a deep breath and try to regain her composure, and then suddenly she lunges forward with her rapier and brings her blade sinking between two of the carapace shells, and the blade sinks deep in, dealing 23 points of piercing damage. And she then will kind of, her arm position there, try to bring her offhand dagger in to strike again, which unfortunately that one does not quite make it, as she kind of starts to cough and the poison starts to take hold again as she sort of pulls the rapier out and drops back, kind of holding at her chest, kind of trying to recompose herself. That is the end of Embla's turn. Wiswick, you are up. Curon, you're on deck.
I'm trying to decide if I want to do my modified magic missile or if I want to do a fireball. But I think Wiswick sees Huron's horse acting up and all the mist and chaos that's going on over there, and decides to stay back. So he's
Horses ran away.
my horse.
No, all the other horses. You're still you haven't reached the point where you'll need to make the animal handling check yet. You will if you move at all at this point.
Right. So how far away am I at this point?
So you moved 60 feet last time, so you're still quite a ways away. Actually, you're still about 110 feet away.
That's
from the beast. From the beast, you're 60 feet away from the actual forest edge, the edge of the glade, where Curon is.
Okay.
Well, Curon stopped a little short because Rocco ran away. You actually see Rocco running towards you, Wiswick.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm gonna ignore him because I got bigger fish to fry. Bugs in this case, but we're gonna go with a classic fireball because I haven't done this in a while.
Okay.
Just not even you know what? I'll give the modifier. I'll drop a level 1 slot to add an extra D10, and we'll see how this works out. Not even modifying the saving throw. It's Dex saving throw 15.
Dex saving throw 15.
Yep.
Okay.
Where's my D10? Here it is.
Creature stat block.
I took it.
Creature succeeds because it is going to use its legendary resistance.
Should have used the magic missile.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Always use the magic missile. I've learned this now. Okay. So the calculation comes to...
Suspense.
28 fire damage.
Is that the total?
That is the total, so you half it.
Cool. 14
Half
points
it.
of fire damage.
Boom!
And I imagine I centered it above the creature, so
That's
it wouldn't
what I
hit any of
imagined.
my allies.
Yeah, and I imagine this small ball of light shoots out slowly, and the creature kind of takes notice of it, and you can kind of see it. It immediately cries out into the air, this sonic voice that tries to almost stop the fireball from hitting it. It just causes it to essentially like hit the sonic boom and sort of explode out towards the creature, still dealing damage to it, although reducing it by half. As the creature starts, you can see kind of the singed flesh of the creature. Now the carapace has these streaks of black across it. Some of them are burning through to its inner self, the soft gooey center of any insect. It's lobster flesh.
Yummy, yummy.
Don't tell me that.
Roast that roach.
Okay, Wizwick, anything else?
I mean, I don't have much action, so I'm just gonna get off my horse and just basically hold on to the reins, or like keep my hand on him to like have him stay, and just like try and keep him calm as this is all going on.
Okay, no problem. Kieran, you're up.
If I observe the creature, does it look bloodied? Does it look like it's taken a beating?
It's definitely taken a lot of damage. It definitely looks a little bloodied.
If I look at my friend Cal, does he look like he's taken a beating? Does he look bloodied?
Yeah, his armor is like splayed open and like hanging in rags off of his chest.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
Tiny then. We're gonna start
I need new clothes.
start with a third level healing word.
Yeah, this is needed. So thank you.
Ooh. All right. 12 points of healing. And then
Yep.
we're going to cast Toll of the Dead on El Mantis. Needs to make a Wisdom saving throw, DC 15.
DC 15. Okay. Already used its reaction.
Fuck off. Excuse me, I mean frick off. My bad.
By
My bad.
Ilyuvanya. Do not do that again.
Okay. Wisdom, you said?
Yes, sir.
Wisdom.
I mean,
Wisdom.
yes,
That
sir.
is a 18.
Wow, butter my buns and call me a biscuit.
That's 18.
Okay.
That succeeds, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then Roko's long gone, ain't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty much 120 feet back down the pathway.
Okay. I'll end the turn.
Okay, so I'll say that kind of all happened conjoined with the fireball blast as this necrotic energy tried to writhe through the creature, this own tolling bell kind of in response to its cacophonous growl, cacophonous roar. The fireball explodes around it as the bell fails, and the structure of the tower starts to get damaged a little bit as the fireball's implosion and the sonic boom of the creature's voice starts to rip some of the stone down from the tower that starts to collapse down into the battlefield, but it isn't falling in any dangerous way for you all just yet. All right, the next person is Timber, and then the insect dragon is up.
I will move 45 feet closer. And then
Okay.
cast Hexblade's Curse on it now.
Okay.
And then
You.
throw things at it
Okay.
for my attacks. And throw my Inkswell. Well, I don't know if that'll hit. Oh wait, I got advantage, right? Because he's glowy, right?
No, that's only the next attack, right?
Okay, well-
Kieran?
Yes. Yeah, just the
So,
next attack.
It's 18.
You're an 18.
That just misses. So, Inkswell, the blade things off towards the creature and just barely misses as the creature's wing kind of comes up and scatters it off into the distance.
Well, I technically don't have any more daggers on me, so that's it.
You started this campaign with so many.
I did. I threw them all away. I never collected them back.
Okay. All right. So Timber, that it is now the dragon's the Mantis Dragon's turn. Let me roll to see if it gets back. Does not get back its sonic attack. All right, so it is going to go for a. Scarlet, you're unstunned now. It's going to go for a tail swipe. So everyone within 15 feet of it needs to make a dexterity saving throw. Good thing you're not. Good thing you're not unconscious or stunned anymore, Scarlet. That'd be an
Yep.
auto fail.
A lot of 16s I'm rolling tonight. Is it 20? Good, Sean.
20 is good. You only take half damage.
Oh, good.
I'm going to use evasion, so I take nothing.
What
Can I
did
do
you
that
roll
when
for
I'm
your
prone?
dex save?
Huh? Yes,
Would-
I got a 20. Nope. Yeah, 23.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it while you're prone. So you'll take no damage. I'll say you just sort of like roll underneath the tail as it comes around. Cal, you are going to take half of the total damage, so that would be 9 points of bludgeoning damage. As Embla is going to fail, take 18 points of damage and is knocked. Also knocked prone.
Do you need us to do the strength? Oh, no, because you got to fail the thing and then the thing. Got it.
Yeah, if you only do the strength if you fail it. Okay, so Embla is now kind of knocked down to the ground. Scarlet, you can see her next to you, coughing up a lung as she's struggling through the poisoned effect and has taken significant damage. Cal, you only got swiped by the tail slightly as it swung past you. You stepped back, but that one claw is going to come in for a claw down onto Cal.
Thing is rude.
That is a natural 20. It's a lot of damage.
Things are not looking good for our heroes, folks.
Cal, that is with the double damage. That is going to be 36 points of piercing damage.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Are you still up?
No, he's definitely down.
Oh, he's down.
Oh.
Down like a clown.
Down, yes. No way.
No, I'm down.
So, Scarlet and anyone who looking would see this. He's like straight up impaled by this thing's claw. You see it kind of in Cal. You feel that.
Yeah.
As it's just the worst pain you've ever felt, as the creature is sort of like holding Cal up at this point, bringing the side-like claw up.
Caliph, no!
It's growling and screeching in his face.
You can do
can
better than
see
that.
the acidic acid
Caliph,
blood
no!
pouring off of its carapace.
My friend.
As the creature is growling into Cal's now unconscious face.
I'd like to vote Stefan out of the group.
completely within melee range of a creature that has several attacks and is bleeding out of his stomach because he's been impaled by a claw. And it is Robert's turn. I'm gonna roll to see if Robert
I just heard.
vengefully runs out to try to attack the creature.
Please.
Robert rolled well on his heroism roll.
His vengeance.
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought it was a cowardly roll. That's that.
I guess it was a coward saving throw. You see Robert come dashing out of the woods, just as best of a warrior shout as he can do, brandishing a simple dagger that he has as he comes running, and it's just that exact, just not very effective as he just comes up and starts trying to stab into the creature's side. And it's not doing anything as he's just shouting out for Mr. Caliph. But he has run out screaming. Scarlet, you're down on all fours. You see Embla coughing up beside you. You can see Curon's dismayed face at Cal's impaling behind you, and Timber there as well, non-feral. Just barely make out Wiswick in the back, keeping Jasper from running away. Scarlet, it's your turn.
Okay. I would like to use half my movement to get up. Instincts are kicking in at this point. I would like to move 5 feet to my right. Yep. I would like to use my bonus action to cast Erupted Flesh.
Okay.
And then...
That is a...
Ooh, give me 1 second. That is a... When your
saving
flesh
throw.
first cracks, enemy dex saving throw. On a fail, it'll take 2d8 fire damage, and or half as much on a successful save.
Okay.
Very nice.
It got real high.
Okay.
It got a 21.
Yeah, that'll do it. So it was 9, so half of 9 points of fire damage.
Okay. So you watch as your flesh erupts in the creature, and it's like sort of the slightly dimmed light of the forest, as not a lot of light is cracking through the branches in the canopy above. There are these sizzling braziers around that are not fully lit, but there's just not a lot of light. But then suddenly your flesh cracks with your anger as you look up at this creature. The illumination of the magma beneath your skin, bringing this horrible orange, sharp light with these shadows moving across its carapace as it just sort of looks at you. This acidic drool coming out of its mouth as it sort of pulls its claw out of Cal, who collapses to the ground, bleeding.
Okay. For my action, I would like to hit it with my fancy new sword. Oh, Caleb's fancy new sword.
Go for it.
Oh yeah, that's a 26.
That'll definitely hit.
Okay. 1d6. Oh, that's a 1 plus 5, 6 points piercing damage. Who is it engaged with? Any of my allies?
It is engaged with Embla as well.
Good. Ooh, that was a good one. 12, 13, 14 points of sneak attack
sneak
damage.
attack.
Yep. 2 6s and 2 1s.
Okay, you come up and you just bring that blade right into the creature's face, kind of clawing at its mandibles, and you can see it does have these like side mandibles that kind of claw in to pull its food into its mouth, like an eel has, and you slice one of those right clean off as the blood splatters out. And I need you to give me a dex saving throw.
Can I use evasion whenever I want?
Yeah, it's just an innate.
Yeah.
Great. I'd like to evade.
Okay, so then you still need to roll to see if you take no damage or half damage.
Well, it allows you to make a dex saving throw to take only half damage. So when you roll it on an effect that allows you to make a dex saving throw to take only half, you instead take no damage if you succeed. Oh, if I have, never mind. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you still have to succeed or fail a roll.
Yeah. Okay, 14.
You must always roll the dice.
14 does not succeed, so you'll take half damage.
Damn it.
Which is 4 points of acid damage.
Okay.
It sort of splatters against your cloak and singes, and you feel the pain of it, but you're determined to protect your friend. Looking up at the creature, still growling, a low rumbling growl as it stares down at you. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
That is it.
Okay. Embla is up now. She's going to use half of her movement to stand up as well. And she is going to go for it. Attack on the creature too. Disadvantage due to her being poisoned. Her rapier does not find purchase. But her offhand does not either with this poisoned effect. She's just struggling to stand up as this noxious fumes have taken over her body, and you just see her sort of kind of bringing her these desperate attacks in that just don't quite make it. Which brings us to Wiswick, and Curon is on deck.
Me?
All right. The moment we've all been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
we're,
not burning.
we're going with 3rd level magic missile, modified to deal fire damage. Spend an extra 1st level spell slot in order to add the D10. Here we go.
Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
I got a 1 on the 4 and a 10 on the 10. So that's 12 times 5, I want to say. I think it's 5. Yup. Somebody stop me.
Hey, stop it.
Okay, thanks. It's 60 damage.
60 damage. I'm gonna have to seriously sit down and look at this subclass, 'cause I think we're gonna need to nerf it. There's a reason it never became anything, and it disappeared into the vaults of Wizards of the Coast.
5 colossal flame spears appear above my head as they sever this man into a million pieces.
You're also lucky
Well-
because naturally it's 2d10 instead of 1d10, so Clayton nerfed it down to 1d10. It's even ridiculous without it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still pretty
It's like half the
ridiculous.
damage it should have been.
Right.
Okay. You see these 6 flaming spears come
5.
just 5 flaming spears come piercing towards this creature and just crack into its flesh, kind of erupting in this way where when they hit the body, they just sort of bend into a flame that wreathes around the creature as it starts to roar in pain. As the fire envelops it for a moment, Scarlet, you can kind of see it almost looks like a pillar of fire, like the creature is on fire, and then suddenly it all dims down to smoke steaming off of the creature as it's just sort of as it is struggling to find its footing. At the end of Wiswick's turn, it is going to use a legendary action. As you see these wings just start to flap incredibly fast. Scarlet, you immediately feel the air around you. As you can see, kind of the miasma around you shoots out and away as the creature is attempting to lift itself up and flee into the air. Creatures within 10 feet of it must make a dexterity saving throw.
Natural 20. 27.
Okay, so you do
And I
not
would
take.
like to evade.
It's okay. You don't take any of the damage anyway.
Cool.
Cal automatically fails this and takes the damage, which just results in a death save. One failed death save. As his body just sort of starts to like slowly move and just sort of starts to flap backwards, kind of tumbling away as it's just getting bludgeoned by the ground.
Closer to Huron.
Closer to Kiran, yeah.
Do we have opportunity attacks?
Yeah, you do, because it is gonna move. What is its flying speed? It is gonna move 40 feet up in the air.
Oh boy.
Well, actually, it's probably gonna move a little bit less than that, but still, you have an
No,
opportunity
that-
attack.
That's not gonna hit. That was a 2.
Okay, that doesn't hit. I'll give Embla her chance. Well, actually, I should give her dex save first. Oh, she did not succeed.
Woof.
She's taking a beating in this.
She hasn't been out adventuring enough.
She'll take 13 points of bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone, which means that her attack was with disadvantage. She does not hit the creature. She is kind of down in the dirt of it all. Okay, so the creature is now 30 feet up in the air. Let me
Hi, Sean. Whoa, where'd that column come from? It's crazy.
I think just summon a column.
The creature's
It
not
pooped
really
it.
flying. It just summoned a column, and it's like they won't notice. Which brings us to Curon's turn.
Oh boy, it's my turn. Does it look like the creature is fleeing? Is that what you would surmise from it?
Yes.
All right, then Curon is going
How is it
to
Huron? I'm confused. Did the
His wizard
dragon
just
just go,
went.
or was that a legendary action? Oh wow. Okay.
legendary.
Missed that.
Oh, Tim, pay attention. He's
I'm-
gonna move up to Cal.
Currently focused on my dice.
That's fair.
Bell and claw.
And he's gonna spare the dying, aka Cal F.
Okay. So, Curon, you run up to Cal's unconscious body and cast Spare the Dying. You kind of bring a hand down on his chest, and there's a quick pump of Ilyuvania style magic. It just sort of radiates through his body, and Cal, you're still unconscious, but the bleeding starts to stop, and you are no longer dying.
Yay! And then we're going to cure wounds.
Okay, go for it.
Which one's that again? It's been too long. D8. Oh, rolled a 1. 4 points of healing damage.
Okay.
Better than no points.
So I'd say, Cal, you come to consciousness in an utter state of pain and horror, as just a little bit of your wound is starting to slowly seal back up.
And Curon gives one last look up at the creature before he starts to just focus totally on Cal, trying to, this is flavor, mend his wounds more.
Absolutely. All right, Timber, you are up.
Question. This is gonna be ridiculous,
Yes.
but
Try and do some monk shit.
Yeah. Can I technically blink underneath his shadow? The shadow that he casts, like on his underbelly.
I would allow you to, but you would have to immediately make like a dexterity saving throw to try to like be able to
Grapple?
do anything at
Like-
that
like
point.
hang
Yeah,
on.
essentially like grab on, or even just to like do something and then like fall if you would fall, I guess. Is the blink is a bonus action?
Yes.
But yeah, I'd say you could do that. You just need to do the acrobatics check once you get up there.
Hold
The
on.
shadow wouldn't be on the ground.
I have to decide.
So
whether
then he just blinks to the ground, but there's definitely enough dim light in this space for you to do that.
to decide if this is worth it or not.
I was equally going to allow you to like try to jump up the tower wall and leap onto the monster with cool monk shit.
Oh yeah, you would.
Both is pretty much an acrobatics
I
check.
will do that one.
Okay.
The latter, because I prefer that one. I just didn't think that was an option.
No,
Yeah,
that's
so
definitely an option.
I'm going to try to run up the sides and
Yeah, Tarzan him.
and Tarzan him. Yeah, just grab a vine and swing on and. I know
Go
you're
ahead
gonna
and go
probably
for an
make me
attack
roll a lot of what's that?
Give me that acrobatics check first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would gladly do that. That's
You have
a
to do
19.
Tarzan cry.
You make it.
Or a Naruto run.
You just
Your
make
choice.
it. As you
No.
Naruto run. No. You sort of see the creature trying to escape, and you kind of look quickly, surmise the territory around you. You see kind of the rubble of the tower, and you're just like quickly in your mind calculate. You can definitely make it, and you immediately start running towards it. You jump up and kick off of it and onto a certain part, and then leap across, claws out, ready to grab into and attack the side of this insect dragon.
All right, I'm gonna start making my attacks. Ooh, first one is a natural 18. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that hits.
Yeah.
Because that's 25.
Wait, what was it? Yeah, that hits.
Wiswick frantically looked through his book to see if he prepared, what do you call it? Featherfall today. He did not.
So that is 11 points of damage with 4 necrotic damage.
Okay.
Second attack. Oh, also, I'm using a key point to try to stun it.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ooh. With that first attack.
Yep. DC 14.
And that's
Wisdom.
And what is that?
Sorry,
again?
Constitution. Constitution 14.
Constitution. Okay. It got a 13. and I was even in my head, I was like, oh man, this thing's got plus 10 Constitution saving throw, but it rolled a 3.
Oh my god.
So, and I'll allow you to keep doing your attacks on it, but you finish out your attacks on it.
Okay.
But you leap across, and there's kind of like still flickering flames on its flesh. Its wings are kind of burnt a little bit. There's this cascaded ash streaks all over it from Wiswick's constant fire attacks on it, as it's just sort of, as you just kind of grasp onto its neck, and you can kind of think your claws dig deep into it, and you kind of take your fist, and you just like punch into the openings of its carapace on its neck, almost punching your hand through and into its throat, and it just sort of, as you just feel its immediate body go limp as it starts to slowly, the wings are like flapping really fast, and then suddenly it just, as you just feel that slow like, but you can finish out your turn if you'd like.
I will finish out my turn. I'll do it, and I'll describe it in style. Alright, so second attack. With the left hand. This one is a 19 to hit. Does that just hit?
That just hits.
Also, do I get like advantage because he's now stunned?
I believe
Yes.
stuns does give advantage. Yes,
Okay.
you do.
All right. Let's still
Yeah,
go for
attack rolls
Paradice.
against creature have advantage.
Okay, so that is just 8 points of damage with 4 necrotic. I'm gonna flurry of blows.
Absolutely.
Pop,
Um,
pop.
Bop.
Pop, pop.
I'm gonna
Bop.
roll with advantage this time. That does hit, but I want to see if I get a 20.
Pop,
Okay,
pop, Sailor Man.
that is a 23.
Oh yeah.
That is 11 points of damage with 2 necrotic damage.
Whoa.
And the last one,
Ooh, it's very close.
okay, that one just hits with a 19 again.
Okay.
Oh, baby! So that is...
Wait. I'm just gonna tell you how do you want to do this, because we forgot you've been rolling 19s, correct?
Yeah.
And it has Hexblade's
Oh,
curse on
right!
it. You just rolled 2 crits on it there.
No, I rolled 119.
Oh, you rolled 119.
I rolled
okay.
a total of 19 before.
Okay,
So
okay,
I
okay,
rolled
okay.
119. So you're right. I do have
Okay.
1 crit in there. I'm not gonna
Okay.
use it for this because I did
Okay.
roll really high on this. I rolled 6 and a 5.
Do you want? Do you want when? Do you remember which one it was? Was first or second attack?
I
This
think
is
it
one
was
of
a
those
second
ones.
attack. Yeah.
Because I have the amounts listed.
Okay. Yeah, it was a second attack. But
Okay, it's fucking bloody as shit. Though,
so and then the last one is
that hits. So
sorry, I brain farted really hard there. 12 points of damage and 6 necrotic.
oh wow, that would have almost done it on its own without the crit. How do you want to kill this thing
Yeah.
as it's collapsing down to the ground?
So the way I imagined it is Timber, runs up the side as it's trying to flee. Jumps off the building, grabs onto its wing, finds purchase towards its spine, hits the back of its spine with the palm of his hand, sticking it through, and then starts like clawing away at the spinal fluid, just like really bad. What? Yes, Tim.
This thing has an exoskeleton, according to Sean. So
Okay,
this
well,
is fine.
I pierced. Okay, thank you.
I've been actually spending the whole time here researching how big bugs can get and what the oxygen rate needs to be.
Okay.
And let's just we've learned some things about the Fey Runes or Fey Wilds climate. Keep going.
There's oxygen. There's so much oxygen.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm just gonna keep pummeling it until it kind of resonates and kind of like it just starts bleeding from the inside, in the back, and then I want to, right before it hits the ground, just kind of like just kind of leap off of it,
Kick off of it.
kick off of it,
Yeah,
and then just land pathetically on the ground.
So you all can see this. Cal, it's the first thing that you see when you come back to consciousness. Is you just see the creature slowly falling, and you just see the form of Timber on the back, just like ripping into its back, just like its flesh just going all over the place. So much so that it's just Timber is covered in green ick.
Oh yeah, how much damage am I gonna take from that?
Yeah, I'm just rolling it. You're gonna take 8 points of acid damage. As it's just, you see like singed fur all over Timber as he's just getting covered in this bloody mess. And then you see him just sort of kick off of it, which gives this body just like a little bit more propelling as it just and it just splatters into the ground. The amount of weakening of its carapace, it's not like exploding like you smacked a bug on your arm, but it's just an absolute mess as you see the innards are just leaking out, and the ground is starting to fume from the singeing acid blood that is pouring out of it. As you look around and breathe a sigh of relief, Kieran, you do notice these drawn bows in the distance going down and some skittering off into the distance in the woods.
Looking up from Cal, he looks to Timber and goes, "By Ilyuvanya, I'm glad to have you back, friend. Are you okay?"
No, I just need to lay here for a second.
Kieran double checking on Cal to make sure that there's not like blood gushing from the wound. Is there?
He's stabilized right now. There's no blood gushing from it, but he is ripped up pretty bad.
Okay. Well, I guess, was that flavor, Timber? Like, do you actually need healing?
Oh no, it's just flavor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna quickly go check on Timber, then come back to Cal, and we're just gonna do another cure wounds at 3rd level, just to make sure that Cal's not like, oh mama. That's 18 plus 4, 22 healing for my friend Cal.
Okay, so Cal, you feel kind of like what feels often when Kieran heals you all is sort of like a deep burning, stinging pain at first, as the sort of holy fire of Ilyuvanya is penetrating through and stitching your flesh back together, essentially. So it almost feels like it was more like cauterized to you, Cal, than it was actually fully healed. But you look down and you do see this very swollen, wretched-looking scar right in your abdomen, and kind of like your mangled armor on you that will need some work to it. Not necessarily full-on repair work for mechanics-wise, but it'll need to be makeshifted together a little bit to make it work. But you kind of like feel achy all over your abdomen and feel kind of like this weird pressure all throughout as your organs are regenerating and trying to refigure themselves out. As you just slowly kind of lift yourself up, limping slightly, as the rest of you can kind of gather together in this glade at this point to just shake off what just happened and figure out what to do next.
Can I check on Embla? I still have 1 healer's kit left.
Yes. Embla is not unconscious. She is just,
but like she's pretty beat up. Just kind of looking for something to do and not.
Yeah. I'll say for flavor, you can kind of start to tend to her wounds. and try to help her up and whatnot. Curon, you've returned. Wiswick, you can ride up at this point.
Actually, yeah, I was going to see if I could calm Jasper enough to hop on him and try and chase after Roko if he hasn't gotten too far.
Sure, give me a quick animal handling check.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying, Jasper, he's a good horse. I mean, I've been dropping fireballs. I dropped fireballs when I was riding him twice. He hangs
It's
in there.
That's why he's got some significant fortitude compared to the other horses. It's ever since you cast haste on him and he saw everything. It's like and could run 120 feet for 6 seconds.
If all I need to do to successfully roll animal handling checks is to cast haste on all my animals, I'm totally down with that. I got a 2 on the animal handling check.
I'd say he doesn't like kick you off or anything but you're having trouble getting him to do much of anything at this point. It's kind of like the moment is worn off, the adrenaline is sort of still surging through Jasper, but he's sort of milling about and bouncing his head back every time you try to get him to move anywhere, and he's not really budging.
Okay, yeah, so I'm stuck doing that for a little while.
Okay. So Shannon, yeah, Scarlet, you're kind of tending to Embla, who's kind of thank you.
It's all right.
It's been
Thank
a long
you.
time since I have seen real danger like this.
You fought well. Thank you for standing over me.
I'm here to help. Thank you for standing over me. Cal, you're so So, there is a quietness to the forest at this point as you just occasionally hear the rustling in the distance. You're unsure if those other humanoid insect creatures have completely left, but Kieran, the last you saw them, they were retreating back into the woods as they were clearly about to start opening fire to help protect the escape of the creature. But upon seeing a wolf man leap from a tower onto its back and rip it to shreds as it collapsed to the ground lifeless, they were like, they Homer Simpsoned back into the bushes. But you are alone in this forest now. You can kind of see from the wings kind of beat back some of that miasma, but you can start to see it slowly creeping back in. Heavier now, almost like beating the wings back kept some of it at bay, and now it's all kind of collapsing down over the entire situation. Where it normally was just sort of really low, it's now, and you can see more spores kind of coming off of these little like sacks almost of fungus that are growing. Now that you're not dealing with the mantis dragon, you kind of see them up high in the trees. These sort of I don't know the exact word for it, but it's that like wasp nest hole look on the fungus, where there's just several holes in the fungal form that just have occasionally you just see little sprinklings of spores coming up. As there's just a little bit of the rain is pouring down from the canopy above. You can hear it outside, almost like rain on a roof, but you all are feeling kind of those heavy drips that come from treetops. Instead of that constant drizzle of rain, you're just getting that like real aggressive splat. It's a very unpleasant environment, especially with your wounds now.
Timber's gonna.
What's Timber gonna do? Sorry.
Slowly get up onto his knees, or just like sit up, I should say.
Yeah.
And see what ripped scarf he has left, or whatever and try to make a makeshift. And before he does that, the spores are coming back. I would apply what are your scarves again?
Yeah, there's sort of this brief moment of almost fresh air before it very visibly is coming in. Consume the space
Guys,
around you.
I think we should just get out of here. This place is not safe. There's gonna be maybe there are more creatures that are gonna be attracted to all the blood and chaos and noise. We should just go.
There are those smaller mantis in the woods that were watching while we fought. They seem to have moved away for the moment. Maybe us taking down that larger creature has given us some sway as a higher predator here.
I cannot be over here. I'm going to wait over there by the tree line.
You see Timber kind of stumble off, and Timber, you kind of for a moment, after the adrenaline's worn off of the fight, have to like grab at the side of the tower for a moment. You're not injured, but just your mental state is still foggy, and you just know you need to get away from these bodies.
Two things, Sean. The bodies that were laid out here,
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't think to make the roll then, but were they arranged in any kind of way, or were they just splayed out as if,
They were just splayed out.
Okay.
Yeah, they did not look like they were designed into any sort of sigil or anything like that.
All right,
It doesn't look like a ritual ground.
Gotcha. And the tower, architecturally, how does it look? Does it maybe remind us of a tower we've seen before?
Architecturally, yes. It looks as though it is a human structure.
Okay.
It looks as old as the Druid's Tower, in the sense of like just like it's from a specific generation of these watchtowers that are built throughout the kingdoms.
Okay.
It You do notice, kind of remembering, there is kind of like scintillating light on the upper floor of one up at the upper kind of bowing floor, and you can see water dripping through that just glistens, like a almost silver like, in the very little torchlight that's there in those like sort of burnt out guttering braziers.
Okay.
But there is some sort of light up there that's dripping down into the inner recess of the tower. And if you kind of look on the battle cam, you can see how there's kind of like it's been ripped up a little bit from the ground. There's
Right.
the exposed lower basement level, and then there's the first floor of the tower above that.
Is there any way to access that basement level, like a door or anything?
It's precarious, but there are several openings that are kind of surrounded by broken rubble.
Do you think that Wiswick could possibly lead Jasper into one of those entrances to protect him from the spores?
It would be pretty hard to lead the horse in there. Like when I say they're collapsed, I mean quite literally the opening is probably enough for like Cal to like bend over and get in.
So I think Wiswick's gonna, before Timber leaves, maybe he'll just be like, could you watch my horse and take him away from the spores, please? Just keep him calm. Try not to eat him.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Oh, and sorry about the casting magic on you. I hope you understand. I don't even know if you remember, but yeah, sorry. And I just walk off.
Okay. Timber, you kind of have Jasper's reins, and you're kind of wandering off a bit away from the party towards the forest line, and you can kind of see, like in the distance, you see Rocco, just sort of slightly off the road, just sort of like tensely looking about and maybe a little stuck in the forest bed, just sort of kind of like really like trying to get unstuck from what seems to be something that's not captured him. He's not like whinnying out like a bear trap got his leg, but he seems
like one of his like lasso or whatever got stuck on like
exactly, yeah, like his reins are like trapped
reins.
on
I don't know
a
why I
heavy
said
tree
lasso.
branch.
Oh my god, did you not have Kieran's horse run away? Thank you.
Timber will go get or try to, or yeah, bring Jasper and try to get Roko.
Get
Well-
mine too.
What would you all like to do at this point?
Wiswick wants to explore the structure. He's probably going to sneak through one of those crevices.
Kind of
Kieran,
looking at it, like the basement definitely looks like probably uninteresting. At least just looking at it, it looks mostly like collapsed rock underneath there, maybe some broken old rotting wood. You don't see any lights in there. It seems mostly like it was just ripped up out of the ground. Really, just whatever water's collecting in the main tower seems to be the only thing of interest. Kieran, you said you were going to do something?
Kieran would look about at his friends and be like, should we maybe rest for a short while before moving onwards?
Yes, please.
Let's get in the cover first.
Do you think inside the tower would be a good place?
And as Cal agrees, he bends down, stifling a groan, and picks up his sword
Okay.
from where he dropped it, I assume. And he would follow Wiswick over to the tower.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Wiswick peeks his head out from like behind some rubble and says, "Maybe we want to clean up outside before we take a nap. Those corpses are going to stink the place up."
How long have they been here?
If someone wants to give a medicine check to see
Yeah.
how long they've probably been here.
That's gonna be. Sorry, I don't actually know what my medicine is off the top of my head. Oh, okay, 17.
So it looks as though they've been dead for probably most of the day. They may have died in the night or in the morning. When you enter into the tower, you would notice some like scraps of a campsite inside of it. Like they may have taken shelter as well in the tower. But it's not too difficult. Cal may need a little bit of help. Emblem might need a little bit of help to get up onto the rock and get to that first floor of the tower above the ground. It's a good like 8 feet above the ground once you climb over the rubble. So it is a pretty defensible position to rest. Robert kind of immediately comes and helps Cal
help
get up
Emblem.
there. You all kind of within kind of the rubble where you can kind of be concealed a little bit can take a rest up there. Did you want to do anything with the bodies?
Kieran's not gonna bother. He's gonna go over
Not a lot of
to,
payoff.
Timber
Yeah.
and confer and be like, Timber, giving him a look up and down to make sure that there's no glowing purple eyes or anything like that. And then
Yes, Kieran.
we're going to rest in that tower over there for a short spell. Oh, I see you've gotten Roko. Thank you very much, friend.
Here you go.
He's going to take Roko and bring the horse around to the far side of the tower, away from the bodies, to hitch him to whatever is available. And then with Timber, climb up the second floor, or the first floor, excuse me.
Excellent. So with the horses that remain being tied up behind the tower, and a lot of you climbing your way up, you kind of in the curved floor find a spot that you can comfortably rest and also conceal yourselves. As you look out into the forest and just kind of anyone looking at just sort of feels kind of like the tops of the trees almost seem to bend in around you as you feel very claustrophobic looking out as there's just that cascading spores that are caught in those like god rays that are coming through some of the openings in the canopy above in the misty forest around you. And I think that's a good place for us to take our break. So Shannon,
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you in charge of the giveaway that we're
Yeah,
gonna do
I got
now.
it all set up.
All right, take it away.
All right, friends. If you would like a chance to win an AC tracker from Arcane Spectacles, now is the time to enter #blessed into
Oh, I'm wearing the wrong shirt.
into the chat. Hashtag blessed, BLESSED. You might say it's blessed by Ilyuvanya.
You can take your choice on deities, though.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Go for it.
So, toss
No.
those hashtag blessed into the
can't.
chat, and when we come back from our break in 5 minutes, we will announce who our winner is.
It's working.
All right. So we'll be back soon, folks. Catch you in a bit. Welcome back, everyone, from our break. We are going to give you all a last-minute chance. We've got 8 people in. We would want to see a few more. Let's see some more hashtag blessed in the chat. Go ahead and put hashtag blessed in the chat for a chance to win an AC tracker from our lovely, lovely partners over at Arcane Spectacles. We're going to give you 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Remember that there's a delay,
6.
Sean.
I don't like this countdown at all.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
All right, shall we roll it?
Let's do it, Shannon.
Do it.
Roll it.
Keep rolling.
Yay!
Oh.
Luna wins!
Gamer Mom Luna.
Gamer Mom Luna.
Excellent.
Gamer Mom Luna. Congratulations, Gamer Mom Luna.
Congrats, Luna.
Shannon will reach out to ensure that we have the
Yes,
proper
yes,
information.
yes.
Get that tracker, AC tracker, out to you from our
Yes, I
lovely
will.
partners over at Arcane Spectacles. Thank you all for participating, and let's get back into the action, I think.
Wow.
Or the quiet grasping of your wounds in the hollow darkness of a tower. All right. So I imagine you guys want to take a short rest.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was the intent.
Okay.
Is there anything
So-
in this tower
Yeah, if you want to
other
give a
than
quick,
the remnants of a campsite?
yeah, if you want to give quick insight checks, you could, or investigation checks, or perception checks, you can look around while you're kind of starting
I would like
throughout
to
the
do that.
hour of your rest.
You had said that there was a
Yeah,
light.
help Kieran do it.
Oh, thanks. You said there was like a light on the second floor.
Yes. So when you're in there, you kind of immediately look up and you can see that the old wood of what was once the floor of, the next level of the tower, and you can see like kind of like broken down steps on the side that look like they're just kind of jutting out of the wall, like their railing is gone and it's mostly decrepit. It's like bowed down, and there's just leaking coming through of this silvery pink glittering light water. It's actually, I mean,
Mercury.
it's gathering down in the center of in the back of the tower. It's kind of trickling down into where the floor meets the wall in the back.
Yeah, Wiswick rolled a nat 20 plus 7 for his investigation check. So he's
Okay.
checking out that pool.
Okay. I imagine Cal helping Kieran. He's like sitting against the wall, like clutching his wounds, be like, "Look at that."
Yes, I see it. Oh,
What's that over there?
well, that looks like debris, and that looks like
Oh.
more debris.
Is any of that? Do you think that's detritus over there? Sorry, I should do that in character. Do you think that's detritus over there?
No, it seems more like rubble to me.
Oh,
Are there little stones around somewhere?
Plenty of them.
Perfect. I would like to pick up 3.
Okay.
I would like to heat them up, and I'd like to place them on my bed.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely. You definitely would be sore after that fight, for sure. Some of the hits.
give
from
yourself
that
a
tail.
hot stone massage.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hot stone therapy.
So you just produce flame to kind of
Yeah.
slowly heat them up, and you kind of like wrap your cloak around them to keep them warm. And Wiswick, you got a natural 20, is that?
Yep.
Okay. This stuff is so you get up close to it. It's I mean, with that investigation check, you can clearly tell there's just a whole bunch of it that's collected up on the next floor, and it's slowly dripping down into this. Looking around with that high of an investigation roll, it's not old. It's very new that it's leaking here. If it was old one, it would probably have all leaked down into the base already. So you imagine this has been deposited here recently.
Any inkling of what's giving it its color, where it's like what could possibly be above it? Is it like something that looks like bio, like something that might have come from a creature or plant, or is it something magical in nature?
You can give me a choice of a nature check or an arcana check. Up to you.
They're both plus 10, so let's go with Arcana. Because
So let's say you're doing a nature arcana check.
A natural arcana.
I got a 6 plus 10 is 16.
Okay. So in investigating it and using your Arcana to look about it, kind of testing it, maybe poking it a little, maybe tossing a rock into it, it doesn't seem to have a lot of effects on its surroundings right now. It seems to be acting a lot like natural water. Um, you do not notice any source down here, at least. You'd have to get up there to look a bit more carefully up there if you wanted to try to climb up there. Um, I'd say you kind of are looking around and throwing different things into it.
Yeah,
And
I would probably have tested it with like the end of my pickaxe or something to see if it was
yeah,
like acid or whatever.
absolutely. And it doesn't seem to have much effect on these items. You notice the rock that falls into it. That's the one thing you notice is well, actually, no. I'll say there's a few things you notice with your pickaxe. You notice the bottom of your pickaxe, the handle, starts to sprout greenery when it's inside the water, and then when you pull it out, the greenery turns to ash and dissipates. The rock you threw in turned into a bright blue, glittering, almost sapphire-looking rock.
What happens when I like I'll just take another stick or something nearby and take the rock out of liquid.
It turns to ash as soon as it comes out of the liquid.
The entire rock, or
Mhm.
just the? Okay. Well, I would like to take a sample of this so I can study it further, but I'm afraid that my bottle would get evaporated.
If you have a spare, it might be worth a shot anyway.
See, I do have. This is my last bottle, though, the one that used to have the vitality potion.
You would also notice that
I
up
have a
above,
spare bottle.
you just drink a healing potion out of it.
I give it to Cal gives it to him.
like cowards.
You would also notice that like above where it's leaking through the wood, you can see like several like vines growing out of the cracks of the wood, and kind of wrapping around the one like beam left that's holding that floor up, and just sort of wrapping around it and just sort of, and they grow like after, especially after seeing the rock and the pickaxe effect, you can like you start to look at these vines and this overgrowth that's kind of attacking the tower, and it's like actively growing quickly within like you can notice it in moments as you're watching it.
Fascinating. This stuff might be really dangerous if used in the wrong purpose. I think I'm going to start scurrying, trying to find a way to get up to wherever the source of the thing is. I mean, he's assuming it's from like a tree or something, but he wants to have a closer look higher up.
Okay.
Can somebody give me a boost?
Probably be better if someone gave you a boost.
Cal, feeling better now that he's short rested, will make a stirrup out of his hands
Okay.
and just lift our friend up.
Yeah, I'd say the second floor is not super high up. You could definitely help lift him up, and you could shuffle your way up carefully, grabbing onto maybe some of the old steps that are still there. But Wiswick, you definitely get up there, and you just see the what you immediately starts to creak, and those below will see some of the water kind of like splashes off the side and hits the bottom of the tower, and it starts to trickle down. You can kind of see these little sapphire like deposits that appear on the stone floor and then kind of disappear when the water drains away from it. Wiswick, you would notice that the entire top of this wooden platform is covered in greenery that looks much more lush than the forest around. And then you would notice about 4 feet above or more like 2 to 3 feet above the pool of water is just sort of this fracture in reality almost. It looks like reality is cracked glass, and you just see this like very slow trickle of the water coming out of it.
Wiswick's gonna take the bottle that Cal gave him, and he's gonna put it under the trickle and see what happens.
It fills up, and the glass kind of shimmers for a moment.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I put it close to the ground, so if I do have to drop it, it's not going to shatter everywhere.
Yeah, the vial starts to glow, and you can kind of see any light going through it now has sort of a prism effect around it. And there's somewhat like some rainbow lights around it, but it doesn't break. And when you pull it away, it stays together.
Seeing that this works, Wiswick's going to take his bottle of necromantic ooze and toss the ooze out in a random direction away from everything and start filling up on this stuff. So he's going to have the vitality bottle, Cal's bottle, and this bottle, 3 bottles filled of the stuff.
And you just haphazardly toss the necromantic ooze out?
I would say I probably aim it towards, like, the nothingness. Like, I definitely want to, like, put it somewhere that there's, like, dirt.
You're not aiming it anywhere near this stuff, though, right?
Yeah, the plan is not to create some sort of monster.
Okay, yeah, you can easily able to dispose of it without, somewhat carefully in Wiswick relative terms. And you can fill 3 vials up with this, and you notice they each kind of like the glass becomes clearer and more pristine looking, and there is just sort of once it's filled up and corked, it's you can see through the liquid like it's water, but it just has this effervescence to it that creates sort of a haloed rainbow around it through any kind of light that moves through it.
Kieran still has a unresolved perception check of 26.
Okay. And you're just...
He would have been focusing on the
yeah.
blue light, but seeing Wiswick going to investigate that, I guess he'll just do a general perception, and maybe this can count also for like a looking out to see if anyone's watching the tower.
Yeah. Excellent. I would say over the course of the hour of your short rest, you're watching Wiswick every now and then, and you occasionally look out, and things seem to have quieted down quite a bit in the forest line. You don't notice any of those mantis humanoids. There's one point that you notice something, or 2 points later in the hour. One point you notice kind of up in the trees, you do catch one of these mantis creatures that's just sort of like up in the trees, just sort of looking down. It doesn't move. It's very still. It thinks you can't see it. It thinks it's blended in with the environment. And if you'd rolled lower, you wouldn't have seen it. But and it's not moving. And then the last thing you notice towards the end of the hour, probably at the end of the hour, is how many of these spores have gathered on the ground. And
outside the tower?
Yeah. And you can see the corpses are coated in them.
So as we're ending this hour, seeing the horses, are they doing okay?
They are. You hear them. They're not being exposed. You actually can see some of the other horses in the distance, kind of milling about, lost in the woods.
If they responded to a whistle, Kieran would, because I can't whistle with my fingers, so I'll just do it with my mouth. But Kieran, he would be able to do it with his fingers. Trust you me.
I would say they would definitely respond to it, and you can see them kind of slowly but surely by the end of the short rest, they've come close to you where you could get to them and bring them back up.
And then Kieran's gonna turn to his companions and be like, well, if we're all rested, I think it's best we start heading out. I have a very bad feeling about these spores. They've been gathering upon the corpses out in the clearing. And if they're anything like the spores we've encountered back in Magin's set, well, fungal zombies is not something that I'd like to see again.
I told you we should have torched those corpses or buried them or something.
Well, we can do that now, I think.
Can do it on the way out.
I guess
I'm actually more worried about what's up here. There's like this rift to another dimension, like we've seen in the past.
Okay.
If I had to fancy a guess, it seems to be, to my best knowledge, something to the Feywild, given the life-giving waters that seem to flow from it. Could be mistaken, of course.
Sean, can I
I imagine that. Oh,
can I
you want to go or me?
can I half-ass perceive what it is? Would I know what this is?
Oh, because you have
Yeah.
alchemical history. Give me a check of your choice.
Strength check.
Oh, well, that's related.
Well, I don't. Whatever it is.
Yes, it definitely. At the very least, you would. It's very different from what you've experienced of the Fae before, in the sense of like the darker side of the Fae that you've experienced before. That is more parasitic. This is more life-giving.
My working hypothesis is that the creature that we defeated was somehow feeding off of this energy, and perhaps that's why it grew to such a ferocious size and was merely defending its home when we came to attack.
So let's get out of here. Come on, let's go. And Timber's gonna jump down from the tower and make his way in the direction that he ran in.
Okay.
Kieran will be standing at the edge of the tower as long as it's 60 feet from the bodies and just start casting Sacred Flame on them.
Yep. And you watch as the spores start to erupt into flames, and you notice, like, as you're casting the sacred flames, the bodies, they start to react to it, like they start to like, and say you go like one at a time, and you're just slowly, methodically doing it as they're all kind of like. It seems as though they had turned probably a half hour ago, and that they were just laying in there waiting to snatch like some sort of hidden predator. But because you're kind of slowly, methodically doing it in the proper way, and they're not very strong, they just slowly start to burn away each as they grasp up, trying to grab at something that they think is attacking it. But they had all turned already.
Before Wiswick goes, is there any debris or anything like? Is there a ceiling above where this rift is, or is it just like floating in the?
It's floating in the air. The other half of this tower is collapsed into the forest on the other side of it.
So just as like an attempt to maybe seal it, or just like see what happens because he wants to try and avoid something like this happening again. He just backs up a little and then shoots a chill touch at the rift to try, and like it's just like a hand that's gonna like attempt to like grasp it and close it.
Yeah.
It's probably not gonna work, but
yeah. I would say that doesn't have much of an effect on it. If anything, you can kind of see the magic kind of dissipates around it, maybe cross to the other side, but it doesn't have any effect on the individual magical rift.
Is there any way he could take something physical and like clog it up fashion? If I were to like use rocks or something like that. I don't know how high up it is. Yeah, I'm gonna give it like
Put a
10
camera
minutes
on a few micrometers from the event horizon.
If you're still on the tower, it's about like 12 feet above
Anything
you.
that comes through is just gonna be like a big old splatter.
How would you like to try to plug it with something physical?
So I just look around for stones that are nearby that kind of seem like the correct shape that would like fit inside of it, and I just try and place one slowly on it, like inside of it, like halfway, and I want to see if it stays there, or if it gets pushed out, or what happens.
Okay. So as you do this, luckily it's just the right height. If someone helps you get back up there, the water starts to pour over the rock as you're lifting it up, and you see like down the streaks of water, it turns sapphire. Do you drop it?
Yeah, I imagine as soon as the water starts pouring over, I like let go and just like let the rock splash if it has to, because I don't want to touch it. I'm like backing up.
The rock hits the wood beneath you, and you hear it as the wood starts to splinter underneath it, and then you see the water start to gather where that splint is, and then you feel a shift beneath you as the wood starts to and it splits open beneath you. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Can I not even bother with that and just misty step away?
If you would like. If you would like.
Like a complete coward, I definitely employ
Like a wizard.
you easily enough can misty step away. When you misty step away,
heads up.
Where do you misty step away? Do you just 30 feet away towards your friends?
I would say if there's anywhere on the upper level where I was that isn't gonna like fall because of the wood falling, like maybe like a rubble wall or something, like just on top of that.
Yep.
Like
yeah, you could do that.
above. Yeah, that's my
you
plan.
You do so, and you, for a moment, you start to do the typical like, but then you kind of like feel yourself moving through the misty step etherealness, and suddenly you're like, and you're not just 30 feet to the tower wall, but another 30 feet past it, as somehow your spell's been amplified around this liquid, and you kind of Looney Tunes are in the middle of the air, running your feet around as you fall 30 feet down.
Jeez.
I need you to give me
so
a
what is
dexterity
that, like 3d6?
It's a dex saving throw.
Alright, I'll take that. It's a dex saving throw anyway, and I got a nat 1.
Whoa.
So perfect. I love that you
This is
missed
what
the
I-
step to avoid the dexterity saving throw and had to do it anyway.
Right?
You're gonna take 15 points of bludgeoning damage as you just face plant into the duff of the forest floor.
I
Why
imagine
didn't I use a hit dice?
blazing these bodies, and he just hears the commotion behind him and goes, Wiswick? Wiswick, is
Ow!
everything okay?
Not really.
Where did you get off to?
I think you just see like a huge bump, like comical, like maybe it's like a bump on top of a bump on the top of Whitwick's head as he's like trying to like push it down, and it tats on his head, and he's just like, "Well, I found out this water is a lot more useful than I thought it would be. It seems to be amplifying my magics, so that's pretty cool. The bad news is I can't get rid of it, so anybody can come here and just take it, and there's nothing we can do about it."
Oh, you mean from the Terran reality?
Yeah, I tried to clog it up. It didn't work out very well.
I don't know if we're exactly the people to be going around plugging up the holes of reality. I think that's
It
best
seems
left.
like everywhere we go, they cause problems.
Agreed.
I do think that the fact that we found more than one of these, two of these, three of these at this point,
Like
at least
way
two
more
of these
than
at this
3.
point. No,
All right, let's count. We got the one under Drift March. We got at least 3 in that alternate reality that I hopped into.
Right.
right, but I wasn't there for that.
There was the obsidian pillar outside of that place.
Brackland Glen was the
Yeah,
one of the ones I was thinking of.
So,
All right, so let's say this.
So
three.
there's really only been 2 before this.
Yeah.
Which 3? Because
Yeah.
some of the portals you went through, Wiswick, were actual like gateways, not cracks. There was the crack underneath the Hydra Den.
Yeah.
That you touched. there was the crack underneath drift marks, which was seemed more of a placed thing than an actual
Right.
crack because of the
Tuning
keystone,
fork.
the
Yeah.
tuning fork that was making the rift, and it's a little bit different from these. So these are literal splits in reality. That tuning fork was creating a quantum effect where both realities were crossing over each other.
And then, of
What about-
course, the palette of mask.
Yeah, I was gonna say under Imagine set.
Yeah.
They're big, like
Well, the
Yes.
barrows. Yeah, the
Yes,
barrows.
the ritual happening there was opening up
Mm.
rifts.
It's almost like relics of the Morsia conflict still litter the land.
if only we could harness their power for our own. Hopefully,
Well-
these vials will give me a little.
I believe
Tidbit
that's
into that.
what has led to the downfall of many of
No,
a
that-
civilization.
That concept sounds. I don't like that at all.
Well, I doubt those people were as smart as me.
Well, Queen Ayla, they say she's one of the longest living beings, and she had the folly of attempting to control these kinds of magic. And look where it ended up getting her. I guess ascended to near godhood, but I mean, she lost her mortality and many of my people in the process.
Wiswick is completely like ignoring this moral argument and is just like super excited to have a new toy to play with.
Regardless, I think Timber ran off already.
Yeah, we should go.
Yeah.
Second
Alright,
to
thanks
my
for
horse.
holding us up.
Yes, I've gathered them here with a whistle of Elysian
Oh,
kind.
Imagine. I'll use my one or my second Lord of the Rings reference for you do a little Gandalf whistle, and then there's some
Does that come
slow
through?
music.
are they as
Yeah, it was very
Cal mounts his
interesting.
horse a bit gingerly, but like things are pretty much closed up now because magic.
Because my
He's gonna say, are they? I don't think I've ever asked. Are they famed for their horsemanship, the Elysian?
Oh no, not at all. I was just making another little joke. Kieran says as he swings himself onto Rocco.
We have to work on that because this wasn't a joke. It clearly worked.
Oh,
Like you just
Mr. Devlin are
you
very.
got the horses.
Um,
This
Devlin
is all
are
this is
very-
all banter as we continue
Yeah.
after.
yeah, you
banter.
Timber, you have a few moments ahead of them, as you kind of scurry up towards where the owl was,
Yes.
where you had run to. Is there anything you'd like to do before they get there?
Timber would just be kind of like looking in the direction that the owl flew to, or looking for the owl, and also just staring at the spot in which he threw up all the flesh.
Yeah, and you would see it there, and you would still be there, and the blood splattered about. For a few moments, you kind of are looking around, and as you're staring at this space where where all this bile is, you hear in the distance as you kind of look around and you don't see it at first, and as you're turning and looking, suddenly about 40 feet ahead in this clearing, you can see the dark owl. Also, like, you guys can all hear the rushing of the river nearby, since you were following the river up north. This passageway, Timber, seems to lead a little bit away from the river, but it still seems to go north.
Okay. Timber's gonna wait for everybody.
Into the deeper into Terramron.
Correct.
That's dangerous.
Do you move forward or wait
Yeah,
for your allies?
he's gonna move forward, kind of like, but very slowly, like a, like almost like waiting for them to catch up, but to hurry up also because I'm walking.
Yes. They're able to gather up their horses, and soon enough you would all catch up to Timber, who you would see like walking slowly down the road, slightly dazed just from the encounter.
Yeah, he's definitely holding his head too, like every so
Yeah,
often. Just...
he's holding his head and cheeks, but he's every now and then just sort of looking up into the air, sniffing and looking into the distance and seeing something that keeps pushing him onward. Huron, you would notice in the distance the black owl.
Can I do a religion check now that we're
Sure.
not in initiative
Sure.
combat? Oh, 18.
You have heard or read of no god that has a dark owl with constellation eyes as its symbol.
I won't even write anything.
It's very novel. So,
Yeah,
Continue.
Kieran rides up with the rest of them, gazing at it as he rides up, but otherwise nothing.
you're kind of, everyone sort of walks up or rides up beside you now, Timber, and you all would kind of notice Timber walking somewhat dazedly forward, not in his wolven form, just in his hybrid form. As Timber, you kind of looking up at the owl and can see it just flies deeper down into what seems like not so much a road, but just sort of depressed area where travel has happened before.
Timber,
Yes, Kieran?
what is that creature?
It's just an owl.
That is no owl natural of this world. I sense divine presence within it.
I thought it was a familiar of some sort. Perhaps some powerful wizard or warlock is watching us.
It might be that, Wizwick. It might be. The best lead we got in here.
So then why are we following it? Why are you, Timber, following that owl?
Reminds me of the Everflame. He's just not.
What
Timber,
are you telling us?
what's going on here?
Sean, you're muted.
He's saying this in such a distracted way, still grasping his head, like he's not looking at you, he's just looking down that road as he sort of mutters this unenthusiastically.
But let's keep moving.
I'm sorry, no, I don't think I can go much further. Do we not recall what just happened to Timber? He lost control. At this, Kieran's going to rein in his horse and hop down. Not in a confrontational manner, but in like a, you know what? No, I'm holding my ground here. Something is wrong, and I will not continue to follow this until I've got something more to go on. And that's
Cal
what he said.
stops along with him and raises an eyebrow and looks at Timber.
He goes, Timber, something is wrong here. Something was not right with you. I don't know if we should continue forward before discussing this.
What happened? I saw the bodies, and then I was in the woods, puking flesh.
That's what happens with Caleb.
And in between then, your eyes glowed purple, and you just started to devour the dead corpses before attempting to assault Cal and the rest of us. Do you not remember that? Something possessed you, Timber.
No, Kiran, do you remember when you asked me if I was okay?
Yes.
There was a voice in my head. A deep voice that sounded something from, I don't know, a void. It wanted me to eat. It just become animalistic.
Is this linked to your gesturing at his general, because he's a wolfman. He's a fucking wolfman. Gesturing to that, Kieran goes, is this linked with your current form, curse? I don't think we ever really made it clear what this was.
I don't know what it is either. I've never gotten this before. I imagine it might be a new development.
You imagine it might be a new development.
I didn't plan to. I'm sorry that I assaulted any of you. Or if I.
Well, did it feel any different from the last time this happened when you fought Caleb or something? Did you sense anything strange or better or worse? Describe to us, besides what you don't remember. Tell us what you do.
I remember a little bit more from when I supposedly attacked Caleb. I didn't have as much of a headache following the morning. I definitely did not throw up any flesh, that is for sure. I don't also remember a voice in my head. But I remember blacking out, as I'll put it. Do you ever, drink too much alcohol, and then you just don't remember anything?
I have no idea what that's like, no.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Well, it seems that the cause of this is external stimuli to large excess amounts of blood. So maybe that's what made it more of an adverse reaction this time, or perhaps it's just getting worse. The more you've experienced it, the stronger it gets.
That is a good analysis, Uzik. Most of my cases are around blood that has been exposed. I have I have a heightened sense for it. That is not something I used to have.
You might want to try dulling your senses in some way, just to avoid this from happening in the future.
I'm still concerned about the fact that you were hearing voices. That seems new, right?
It is
Yes,
very
that
new,
is.
and that is why my head is pounding, and I am freaking out right now.
Maybe we should ask him what questions when he's feeling.
Maybe we should ask him questions before we get led further into a forest that's definitely going to try and kill us again.
Timber is going to take a big gulp.
I know. We looked over. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this might set you up for this. So, look, I know we overlooked a lot of things when we got here because I know your wife is perhaps somewhere around here, but we don't know how you received this information. We don't know how you know where we're going. That, in particular, is a little concerning at the moment. And above all, I don't think do we have a plan, or did we just ride out here?
We're following a bird.
Yeah, that's a huge confidence booster.
Timber's gonna take a big gulp and look over where the owl is. Just shit. Like I said, I got information from people from Orangeshire, that the Highland Syndicate, that she was over here. That was the lead I got, and
So you interrogate from some of the people we fought in the in Orangeshire, in the town there, or in the inn when you left.
When I left the inn, that's where I got the information from interrogating some individuals from the Highland Syndicate.
Okay, so where are we going?
We're going northwest into this woods.
In this giant forest somewhere.
Look,
Sorry, I'm coming off
do not
a little angry right now, and I apologize. I'm with you. We're gonna do this, but I'd like to know at least a little bit of where we're headed and what the plan is.
Well, listen to me. See that owl over there? That is a
Oh,
divine.
we see it.
Yes, that is a divine entity, as Kirana put it out. It is one of the forms of the Everflame. It doesn't say it like that.
Cal, searching his memory of going to church, gonna see if he has any knowledge of the Everflame, any owl iconography.
You've maybe occasionally seen an owl depicted in some iconography that's maybe like the Everflame has like an owl on her arm in some churches aesthetic, but never anything that is manifested in a dark owl with constellation eyes. You even like look over at the owl and you see its head just go.
What about Wiswick's extensive research in religion?
You want to give me a religion check?
Sure.
I'd like to do an insight check to see if I know he's lying or not.
I roll so bad today. I got a 12. 2 plus 10.
Oh.
You've heard of several religions that worship sort of these shadowy figures and shadow creatures, but nothing that is specifically a shadow owl with constellation eyes.
I rolled a natural 20 to see if he's lying. I'm sorry.
I think we all know he's lying a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, no. I know he's lying. I want to see if Cal knows he's lying.
I'd say with a natural 20 with that explanation, he's not being forthright, nor have you known him to be particularly devout Everflame worshiper. You know, you've seen him with these beads, but you know he got them in Brackland Glen.
Cal's gonna narrow his eyes, but then let Timber get away with it. So we're following this owl, a servant of the Everflame, or messenger from the whatever it is,
messenger,
to find your wife deep in a forest that we're all forbidden from entering.
Yes.
I believe you too.
My issue is not whether I believe him or not. That I don't know if I trust that entity.
I know it is not
Kieran's like staring at
Ilyvania,
it.
but
It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with what just happened with you.
I don't know. I don't think the two are related.
I can't see why how they're not. That thing only appeared after we found you.
Kieran's gonna climb back up his horse and go, well, that creature may have been what saved Timber out from his possession. Regardless, we should continue on our way.
I think if anything,
Wiswick, without asking, just comes up to Timber and starts taking little pieces of rag that he had on him and like going to like he twists them up and like is going to stick them up his nose. Like, just humor me here.
okay, I can't. Fine, Wiswick. I already have a cloth around it. Okay.
You dulling his senses?
I mean, it might work. You never know. I think this is a good precautionary measure.
I believe it might be. And Timber follows suit.
Okay.
So now he looks goofy, and Wiswick's making fun of him behind his back. But
He already looks goofy, let's be real.
Yeah.
He's a freaking wolf man. For Ilyvania's sake, like, come.
So you watch as Cal narrows his eyes at you, but then joins Kieran as Kieran starts to march forward. Scarlet looks to you with sympathy, leaving you and putting some trust back into you after everything that you've done for her, but then continues following suit as Wiswick shoves cotton into your nose and moves on as well. You see Robert kind of passes you as well and looks at you like, punches you on the shoulder as he passes you, and kind of like hang in there. Very much. This is no one's gonna get this, but like Vorn does
Yeah.
in Home Campaign.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Where he just hits you on the shoulder and keeps the hand there and like, and then pulls the hand away and starts moving onward. Embla kind of doesn't even really look at you, just sort of looks onward. She's curiously following Cal and Kieran. For a moment, you're kind of alone, thinking and rubbing your head like. There's just a brief moment with all the stress of this and all the things you're concealing and hiding. You just hear in the back of your head a low, rumbling growl. And then you shake it off and join your friends.
And he tries to. Sorry.
No. As you're walking towards them, there's just a low voice that you can hear, barely hear. It just says, "This is just. There's two of us in here now." In that broken voice, just hear, "There's two of us."
He's gonna stop walking and then just stare off at the rest of them, just like even more like really just groggy, like, oh my god, am I going insane?
And it is hard to tell if you're just hearing things and imagining things and it's making the condition worse, or if some entity is within you.
The front of the train, Kieran, like, you know, not a whisper, but like kind of leaning a little to Cal and Elvish goes, "What was it about Timber that you caught? I saw the way you looked at him."
This owl, I responded, Elvish. This owl is it's definitely not a servant of the Everflame, I can tell you that much.
He showed me prayer beads of Zendariel, scorched with symbols in it. They were symbols, right? With symbols in it.
Less
Yeah.
those symbols and more like it looked like the entirety of the beads had been thrown in a fire and then taken out.
Okay.
And they continue to burn and singe.
Burning, singeing prayer beads like nothing I've ever seen. And on top of that, the general, whose name Kinsley mentioned something about serving the one true God. Or just the one God, or just God, the rightful God. Whatever it was, Timber told me this and showed me the breeds, and well, I'm not sure what's going on, but
Well, Kinsley's part of the court in Oxlin. He should be a devout. Well, if it's true that he isn't a Zendariel or an Everflame and a Flamist, I feel like it's definitely not a Flamer.
Is he a flamer?
You could just say devout of Zendariel for now.
Okay, we got to work on that. If he's not,
I mean,
that
you
would
could
be-
you could really just say to just really drive home the Catholicism of it. You could really just say member of the church, because it is the Church of the Everflame.
So he's a. If he's not a devout Catholic, no, sorry. If he's not a devout member of the church, that would be surprising to me, and I'm sure it would have significant consequence for him. But back to the matter at hand. This is all in Elvish, by the way. Back to the matter at hand. I don't know of any particular sect of the church that would have, that would put their prayer beads in a fire, as it were. I know it says the Everflame, but I wasn't
Actually,
the best.
I'll retcon that for you because you would know
Thanks.
what the singed the beads are.
I do. I would.
Oh,
Yes, you would
Wow.
know.
Wouldn't like this information.
Sorry, it is just
I
the
never
first time.
asked.
It's
Yeah.
the first time you've actually really heard of them because he he doesn't like display them.
Right.
You would know that singed prayer beads in the Church of the Everflame are signals of what are called the Burnt, which are supposedly chosen prophets and holy folk of the
Okay.
Everflame that are more so than just a devout cleric, someone who's chosen. You might
They're
say
what in our terms would be a paladin, not D&D terms.
correct, yes.
Okay.
You would know two things: that is a thing that happens, and two, that there is a lot of grifters out there who pretend to be this thing. They come into a town with prayer beads that are just thrown in a fire and taken out to rest, and then they try to get everything they can out of the town.
So, well, so regardless of that, if Timber's actually a burn blessed, or right, yeah,
Yeah, that works.
then well, frankly, we should have known about it before. I think there would have been a lot more holy smiting, and a lot less being a wolf, to be honest. So either he picked him up from a grifter a while ago. I don't think he's the kind of man necessarily, or at least from what we know, the kind of man to lie about that, or something else is going on. So, based on the evidence today, I'd say something else is going on.
Yes, something else is definitely going on. What it is, I do not know.
And then Cal screams, "Then I shall die as one of them!" in not Elvish. Because we just had a very long conversation in Elvish where everyone could for sure just be like,
I mean, really, the person who would have overheard you would have been Scarlet, who doesn't know Elvish.
Yeah.
She's not paying attention either.
Yeah.
Wiswick's gonna say to Kieran in Underdark, or whatever language we share. I'm pretty sure it's Underdark.
Undercommon.
Undercommon. Is Cal alright? He seems a little screwy all of a sudden.
Responding in Undercommon.
I don't yell that. That was a joke.
If that doesn't nullify this conversation, Kieran will pass the information along and be like, "No, we're just discussing Timber's recent incident. Apparently, he may be a blessed prophet of the Everflame."
That's a big stretch, if you ask me.
I am a little in shock myself, being a cleric of Iluvania, and I would think chosen by her divine powers. To be the same as him, motioning back to the wolf man.
I mean, and at motioning back to him, you would see Timber is trailing behind you guys at a distance and just looks like just a man wandering alone, just grasping at his head. As Timber, you are every now and then still hearing the low growl of this voice in your head.
Like a dog in a thunderstorm.
And upon seeing this, Kieran's gonna pull his horse off to the side and wait, and kind of motion the rest of them forward until Timber catches up with him.
And Timber, kind of in this state of covering your eyes a little, and just every now looking down and watching your feet as you're trailing, making sure you're not falling too far behind. The voice is just sort of growling in your mind, and just as it's coming through in mumbled voices that you don't always understand. The voice is speaking in a language you don't know at some points. Actually, what languages do you know?
Just common.
Yeah, you definitely. You don't understand most of the things it's saying, and that scares you more as it's starting to speak in another language. And it kind of becomes a cacophony in your head until you stop because you notice Rocco in front of you as you caught up.
Yeah, Kieran would have dismounted as he waited for Timber to catch up so that he'd be on his level. And then seeing Timber finally recognize him, Kieran's going to say, "What's ailing you, friend? Is there anything we can do to help?"
Timber's like really concerned at this point. They're back. The voices, they're back.
I know much from Iluvania, but I don't know if I can dispel these voices within your head.
Could you? I don't know.
Could I make an insight check to see whether dispel magic or calm emotions would help in this situation? Because those are the only two spells I have prepared at the moment.
Give me an insight check.
Are there,
Do you hear the bees
yeah,
or
are those
whatever?
bees?
The bees.
Not
All
the
right.
bees.
Not the
13.
You are uncertain exactly. To you, it seems like calm emotions. In your just like basic, like you don't know the truth of it, like what would actually do the
Right.
trick, but you think in your head like calm emotions sounds like it would be better in this situation. But you're not sure if it'll get rid of the voices or the entity that's speaking to him.
Right. So
As long
Kieran's
as you
going.
can. Sorry.
Go.
As long as you can. I don't know. Do something that like numbs. I don't know. A numbing agent. Do you have something like that?
Wiswick shouts from up ahead, I can make you deaf!
Kieran takes a second to collect himself after Wiswick's outburst, and he's gonna say, "Do you trust me?"
Of course.
He places his hand on Timber's brow and casts calm emotion. DC 15 charisma check, or you can choose to fail.
Can I choose to fail? Or is it Sean?
That's a good question. We're gonna do the saving throw. As the creature sort of trying to interfere. What is the saving throw again?
15 cha.
Cha.
It does not succeed, and maybe that's how we can play it from now on. Like calm emotions kind of is more so being cast on the creature, the entity, than it's being cast on.
So mechanically,
yes,
this does only have a duration of concentration up to 1 minute.
this is a bit of a flavor use more so.
Okay, just wanted to clarify for chat that this is flavor.
Calm
We have a good DM. What?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Calm emotions, I feel like is often like best used for flavor.
Right.
So Timber, you suddenly feel the voice receding away. It doesn't go away. You almost feel it receding within you. And it's in this language you don't understand, but then suddenly it kind of like, and it sounds like multiple voices at many points. And then suddenly it all kind of fuses together into one crystal clear voice. And the last thing it says before it dissipates, we don't like this one.
And then right at the end of that, he's just gonna look at Kieran.
And Kieran's gonna look back like expectedly, like, did it work?
That did. That did. Thank you, Kieran.
Of course.
Um,
Would you like to ride Roko for a spell?
If you don't mind, that actually
Of
would be
course.
kind of nice.
Of course.
Also, Kieran,
Yes.
if I ever turned again against you, it doesn't like you.
It.
The voice. I don't know what to call it. The entity. The. I feel like I'm going crazy here.
You may be.
I might be. Anyway.
But hopefully we can get some answers when we find your wife.
I hope so too. Let's keep moving.
Of course.
Quick note for you, Timber. When the voice began speaking to you at the end there, it seemed as though you began to understand the language it was speaking. You now know how to speak Sylvan.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry.
Well, not speak. You know how to you understand Sylvan.
Okay. All right. I'll put that in.
It's just one of those earworm parasites that translates other languages from what's it called? What's that
Yeah.
from?
The babblefish from
Yes.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yep. uh, with the side effect of every now and then you attack your friends.
No big deal.
I'd say that's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really good.
All right. So you guys continue moving onward. Cal, I need you to give me a quick perception check.
Okay, that's a 9.
You're good.
Okay.
Scarlet, I need you to give me a
carrying
perception
on.
check as well. Yours with disadvantage because you're distracted by your emotions.
Just emotions.
It sounds so
Oh,
dismissive, but like you are
No,
like
it's
still
true.
like
It's true.
Distracted by your emotions. What is this?
distracted by.
Also a 9.
All right, you both notice the same amount of things. It's
Nothing.
it's humid in here. That's all you notice.
Yeah.
All right, so you continue moving along as you see those of you in the front see the owl skitter off into the distance, down further, deeper into the forest. Do you continue following?
Timber does.
Could Wiswick maybe just go in sort of towards the front of the line? Because he's very interested in where the going.
Wiswick, give me a quick perception check.
Could I use Jet?
Give me one for you and one for Jet.
Awesome.
So I'm doing a quick one for before, because you would have been, I imagine, would have been eyeing this owl.
Well, mine wasn't great. How about a 3?
Okay. There's a point when you kind of, you don't notice much, but you sort of feel for a moment like you almost, you never just been staring at something for so long that you just like realize you're not really even looking at it, you're looking through it, and then you kind of shake your head and look at it. You sort of feel that almost as if it's been done to you, though, while watching this owl. You kind of feel a little strange, like you missed something, but you were watching the whole time. You can give me a perception check for Jet if you want him to travel ahead towards where the owl is now.
That sounds great. Nat 20!
Okay. So Jet kind of
coming through.
flutters ahead, and you see the owl watches Jet too as he passes. And Jet, do you want Jet to stick around the owl or move ahead of the owl?
I think it would be more of a chase thing. Like,
Okay.
if he got too close to the owl, he would stay like 5 feet away from it out for just Jet's safety, even though, like, I mean, I only got 2 jets left in my inventory.
Two jets left.
Okay.
Yeah, two jets, not
So, so Jet could easily keep up with the owl. You all do notice that you're moving, I'd say, judging by the sounds of the environment around you, you can tell you're moving away a bit from the river. Like the sound of the river is starting to sound like it's further away. You might be moving a little bit northeast now. And it's getting later in the day at this point as you're traveling further in. You've kind of come to a spot where you've stopped and you can see the owl is still there above. You continue following it.
Yeah, so I'm basically just relying on Jet's sense from here on out.
Who is at the front of the line?
I think it's technically me.
Yeah, I think I'm quickly behind him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm somewhere up there too.
Anyone who is doing so and would like to roll a perception check can do so at this point. You've been
Kieran-
traveling for a while too, where you're kind of like, and there's like a dreaminess to this space, where you're just sort of like you feel tired as you're moving through it, and you're just especially because you're just sort of catching up about 10 feet away from the owl, and then it just flies 50 feet away again, leading you deeper. And
So I got a 16 on perception.
okay, Huron, what'd you get?
16.
Cal,
12.
Scarlet, did you roll?
I did, but I got a 1, so still distracted.
I'm not going to roll.
Okay. So, Cal, what did you get again? Sorry.
12.
Okay. So Curon and Wiswick, you are kind of keeping an eye on this owl, and you're noticing that it's getting very dark at this point. You're approaching late afternoon, and the forest is making it even darker, the canopy above, so you're starting to feel the boughs above closing in around you. As the owl is getting harder and harder to see in the shadows around you. You are starting to hear a lot more commotion in the woods around you. Like if you've ever actually walked at night through the woods with like very little light and just there's a lot of noises that happen in the woods. Whether it's snapping branches, strange little calls from animals. Exactly.
Skull Kid?
Not you.
Are we in the Lost Woods? North, west.
But it's just getting harder to track the owl. And you see it once again. You get up to it, and it stares down at you, Curon, and it seems to consistently look at you.
Oh, he's staring that bitch right back.
Yeah, and it seems to look at you every time you catch eyes with it. It just
Kieran will cock his head in the
does
opposite
the
direction.
extreme owl twist of the head, where it's almost entirely vertical.
Oh, my neck!
Just,
oh no!
It just
Oh no!
Sort of looks at you.
My neck!
And this
How
time,
do
you do not see where it goes.
We get a general direction though.
Yes.
Kieran, do you want light?
I can see just fine, thank you. I
would've
can
known
also
that.
walk in the air if I wanted to. And just for shits and giggles, Kieran will be slightly elevated just to like test out his steps of the
fuck
brave.
you.
So like the idea is that he's like kind of leading Rocco as Timber rides,
Okay.
and he's gonna like gently like maybe just 6 inches off the ground.
Okay.
Just for shits and a few giggles.
Definitely. I like it. He's just sort of got that like one foot hanging and the other foot slightly bent up. So it's just this.
Wiswick just says like, if I really wanted to, I could fly too. You don't have to keep rubbing it in my face,
Yes, and you'd have to expend a spell slot. Ha ha ha. I have a teacher.
Scarlet, do you want to light up the light regardless? Just if you want to?
Keep talking, Kieran. I'll turn you into a toad.
Okay.
I'd love to see you try.
You sort of, Kieran and Timber, you both feel Robert kind of accidentally bumping his horse into yours as it's just, I'm sorry. Like, do you all see?
Cal, do you have an extra pair of those?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Robert. I forgot.
He's like, oh.
You can
Okay.
keep those. I have 3 to 4 more.
As he's like, oh my. So this is what nighttime looks like.
Well, no, that's through a green filter lens.
Still real hard to see, but
Oh, I'm sure.
get it. Oh, that's you. And he points at you, Kieran. All right.
Yeah, and we're going that way, he says, pointing
Okay.
behind.
Okay.
Is Robert's last name Fisher?
But you continue moving in the direction of the owl. Who is leading the way?
Who is leading the way?
Mhm.
Cow
Who is leading the way?
or Wiswick?
I would say
Little
we're
bit of both.
probably Doesn't super matter, but I guess I'm a horse length ahead.
Okay.
Half a horse length ahead. The
Whoever
opponent's much.
whoever is leading the line, I would like them to give me a survival check to essentially keep on the trail of the owl the best you saw.
I got a dirty 20.
Wow.
Okay. So Wiswick kind of like
Nothing.
ushers Jasper ahead of the group and starts to be like, it's right there. It's this way. And Wiswick, as you kind of moving through the forest, like Wiswick's almost like moving a little faster than you guys. It's excited, but you guys are able to keep up. But then Wiswick, you stop. Jasper stops suddenly. You see Jasper just sort of kind of like doing that thing where the horse is like, I'm supposed to keep moving forward because the person wants me to, but I don't want to. So they're like stepping forward and stepping back. You gotta. He doesn't want to continue. Ahead of you is you hear a light stream trickling in the distance, and you can catch a little bit of it with your dark vision. It's probably heading back towards the river. The trees all around. You look around and you can see occasionally a little cluster of fungus on top some of the trees. You hear some rustling in the distance, and then you hear some loud rustling in the distance, probably about 60 or 80 feet away. That just sounds like a bunch of branches just got smashed at the same time.
Wiswick's gonna take a quick look at Cal with a concerned look on his face, and then hop off his horse. I think something's coming. We better back away. And he's gonna look for someplace to hide his horse, hide Jasper somewhere.
Okay. You could search for
quickly,
kind
yeah.
of like an alcove amongst all the brush to kind of get away and maybe hold Jasper off of this small clearing. Because also it kind of like started to close up what was once a kind of depressed road, sort of. And you can see, and I'd say, Wiswick, you would notice that kind of like there's the stream is not too far away. The stream is probably like 30 feet away, and you actually spot with your dark vision, since you've got really good, and Curon, you would see this too. There is kind of like a thick log that's been pushed down over the stream that leads to the other side of it. That's about 30 feet forward and off to the right from where you are. But you all see Wiswick start to lead Jasper to the side, kind of behind a tree and hidden from where you can see sparse moonlight coming through the trees.
So just to clarify, Jasper was afraid of going towards that downed log.
Yes.
Okay.
Huron will drop Rocco's reins and steps of the brave up to a slight elevation so that he can see over everyone without getting like caught up in the lower branches, and then do a nice little perception check if you'll
Give me that
allow it.
perception check. I will absolutely allow it.
Hey,
What are the rest
that's
of you doing?
nice meatball. 28.
Timber's gonna get off the Rocco as well, and Rocco, sorry, and just try to investigate the clearing just to see anything specific.
So you can give me a perception or investigation check.
Perception.
Are Cal and Scarlet, are you following suit?
Yeah, I'll get off the horse and I'll put the hood of the cloak up.
Okay. And are folks trying to hide and stealth?
Yeah, I'll follow Wiswick to the side.
I'm more circling the wagons.
The wagons aren't with you.
I know. I'm proverbially
Oh.
circling the wagons.
Sorry. Yes.
Tim, Timber's not really hiding.
Okay. Kieran, give me your perception check, and Timber, you're after that. You can give me your perception or investigation.
10.
28.
28. You said 10?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Kieran, in the distance of this forest, the issue is its thickness. So you can see pretty well in the dark. It's just hard to see through how many boughs of trees.
Right.
Oh, thank you very much for that raid from Gaming Brew. We got 16 people dropping in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Our partiers are just traversing through a very dangerous forest. And they just heard some noise across the stream. Kieran, you're kind of looking through, and there's with that high of a perception check, there's a moment you can kind of just see through the branches about maybe 70 feet away. You just see a tree just start to just like split as if it got hit really hard, and you just hear and all of you hear and then you just hear this screeching noise that just sounds like a eagle, sort of. And then you hear the familiar guttural screech of one of those mantis dragons. As you can hear a intense tumble happening in the forest now. As you can hear and just like the scratching and clawing of a fight happening in the distance.
Yeah, Cal's gonna go for cover now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now y'all gonna hide.
Yeah.
Find your own spot.
For those who just raided, if you look at my camera, you can see this is what one of these mantis dragons looks like. But all right, give me self checks.
Fighting something.
It is fighting something. You can definitely tell it's fighting something.
Sounds like a eagle.
I bet you it's an eagle.
The eagles are coming.
The eagles! That's 3 today, dude. Come on.
That one at least was just a side joke and not me referencing something. All right,
Something looks as if it were.
self checks.
Dirty 20.
Cal, what'd you get?
22.
Scarlet?
30. I got a natural 20.
Nice.
Sean, tell me there's some rocks nearby, please.
Only if you get off of Jasper can you get the advantage with the rocks.
Yeah, that was kind of my plan.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll give you advantage. There are definitely rocks in this forest.
You're so forgiving.
There are
Timber,
a few
what'd you
rocks
get?
here.
Got a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. I will say, Wiswick, you kind of have to maybe like burrow a little and just sort of like create a little recess to get fully the advantage of it. But what did you get with the reroll?
I turned a natural 1 into an 8.
Okay. And Kieran, what did you get?
That'll be a 6 for me, boss.
Love it. All right. So you all kind of pull your horses off to the side and individually find hiding spots. Some of you move a little deeper in. Let me roll for Robert and Embla real quick. Embla is recovered from her poisoning at this point.
That's good.
Something.
I'm happy for
That's cool. Ooh, Robert did not roll well. Embla rolled an 18. Robert rolled an 8.
Did better than Q.
So you all kind of like find the horses are not very quiet though, as you're kind of leading them in. They're kind of they're nervous. They're moving around. They're seconds away from running again. But you're all tensely waiting in the woods as you continue to hear cries of pain from some creatures and more things getting knocked down as you're all kind of laying low, holding onto your horses, kind of, it'll pass. And you hear a last guttural as everything goes quiet for a moment. And then you can, after a few tense beats, your heartbeat and the sounds of night insects and the forest are in the air. You hear as something is ripping its way through the trees, like kind of like dragging its mangled body through. As you kind of are looking as the massive head of the mantis dragon comes peering through, clawing its way over the stream, dragging its body as its back legs aren't working, as it's just sort of it's grabbing trees and dragging itself with its mandibles or its scythe-like claws, as it just sort of digs one into the ground and starts to pull itself forward. And then you see a massive, massive griffin, like much larger than like none of you have really seen many griffins, but something that is much larger than what you think griffins should be, just kind of lands on its back and just claws right into its back, and it digs into its neck and pulls on, rips its throat out, as it's just. It doesn't really notice you.
Stop it.
even though Kieran's kind of backing away from it, and he's kind of floating.
Oh, I'm still doing that. Nice.
But then he hits a branch and kind of like stumbles down to the ground, and you hear his armor kind of rattle and an echo in the distance as the creature sort of. And then you kind of notice something strange. Is you see a little figure walking from the other side of the stream on the log, kind of walking happily across. As you see a little forest gnome, dark tan skin, a big bush of gnarly hair with twigs and other branches woven in, some purposefully, some not, wearing sort of well-made leather armor, holding a very tall quarterstaff that has its own vines growing on it, with two little tinctures hanging at the top that look an awful lot like that water. And you see she just sort of looks, and it's a female forest gnome, and she just sort of looks up at the big eagle that's sort of the big griffin, and she's like, all right, you don't need to show off anymore. Come out of it, Tamron. As you see the griffin just sort of and starts to shrink down into a very tall furbolg, a forest furbolg, who has a more dark indigo fur as opposed to the brown and tan and lighter blonde fur you've seen of the plains furbolgs that occupy a lot of the towns you've been in. As he's just sort of shakes his arms, and you see a bunch of this acidic blood flops off of him. As he's just. That's the 7th one this year. All right. Well, we better find some safety tonight before more of them come. As they look around the forest, and the furbolg looks down at her and just sort of. There's people over there.
At that, I think I would stand up and be like,
Hello.
Hello there.
And she'll just be like, who's watching? And she's like, they're scared of us. And as Cal, you pop up.
What? Scared.
hello there. We're not, well, we are scared of you. But also we were scared of the giant dragon. We didn't know what was going on. It was dark. It's very frightening. I'm Cal. Hello. Also, it's the 8th one this year.
They both look at you, and then they look to each other, and the big furball kind of chews his words before saying them. Maybe like a cow chewing out in the fields. Just, you killed one of them.
About 4 hours ago. I think. Maybe 6. I lost
Yeah,
track.
somewhere between 4 and 6. For
Okay, not 5 hours ago.
Sure. And you see he kind of looks at you and smirks and gives a and she looks around, says, "Oh well, then I think we might be friends. Come on out here. Come on out. You don't need to be so afraid. How many of them are there back there? How many are back there? Taramron, how many of them are there?" 7.
Wiswick steps out without hesitation and just trying to calm his horse and like kind of heads towards the gnome.
It's like, oh, look at you. Never seen one like you before. What's your name?
Oh boy.
You could call me Wiswick.
Are you from the Underdark?
I'm surprised you know.
Well, most gnomes know where other gnomes are from. Welcome to Taramron. This here big fella, his name's Taramron.
I was going to say, is he named after the forest or the other
Haven't
way
you-
around?
Haven't you ever met any Fairbolgs?
We have actually. My friend Kieran is just not the best at I like stage whisper social cues.
Yeah, they take the name of wherever they live.
You remember what's her name, Brackling Glen?
Sometimes they take a local name if they make a lot of friends there, but most of the time they're happy enough with just no one being called by where they're from. My name is Elspeth.
It's lovely to meet you. I'm as I said, I'm Cal.
All right, why don't you all come out? Well, all of you. Who's there? Who's back there? You see Robert's kind of like, okay, yeah, all right. And he's just leading the horses out. As you're all kind of out in this space, there's just sort of the wilds around you as you see this Furbog now is kind of like collecting the corpse of this creature and pushing it off to the side as Elspeth is kind of just like wiping her hands, dirt off her hands and off her clothes. Which is, oh, well, what the hell are you doing out here at night?
Well, we were probably about to make camp, but then we heard these noises, so.
Have you seen a shadowy owl around somewhere? It's got scary eyeballs that look like they're from another world.
Because neither have we. It's a weird thing to ask all the time.
Well, I can't say that I've seen anything like that before. Though there is a lot of strange things in this forest. But since you guys all seem like right good fellows, why don't we camp together? We're gonna camp right across the stream.
I think that's a lovely idea. Thank you.
Don't worry about Taramron. He's just a big old softy, really. As you see him just crunching the limbs of this creature, and just like seems to be taking parts of it and throwing it in a big like wicker basket that's strapped to his back. He's just
Wiswick sees this and licks his lips a little, like thinking, like, "Ooh, I wonder if that tastes good."
he's like,
I
"It
say that quietly to myself, like
Okay.
in Gnomish.
in Gnomish or in Undercommon?"
In Gnomish.
Okay. And she'll look back at you and in a slightly different dialect Gnomish be like, if you cook it right, it's fantastic. Right this
Huron
way.
in Gnomish says, "That's disgusting," because he speaks Gnomish.
Huron speaks everything.
Well,
It's just like, well, why don't you all come with us to our camp? I think this is the last one for tonight. These big old bugs, but we got certain protections over there. We'd be happy to have you since you seem like nice people. Right there.
Yeah, you guys don't look like cannibals either. I think we're good.
Oh no, I'd never eat gnome. It's disgusting. This way. As she starts to head into the woods and is whistling a very, very happy tune as she wanders into the dark, and you need to kind of keep up with her as Taramron the Fearbog is kind of like waits for you all to pass. You see Robert pulling the horse like, hey.
Yeah.
As he just sort of Taramron just sort of hefts the wicker basket on his back, and you hear some crunching of the insect parts, and he's just stomping behind you, following behind you as you are being led deeper into the woods by this strange forest gnome and her Fearball companion. Truly uncertain about where the hell you even are in this forest, and trusting in a stranger in a dark time. Yes. And that's where we'll end tonight. Thank you, folks, for sticking around with us through to 11 or 10:41. Thank you for that raid. That was very awesome, Gaming Brew. Thank you for any of you who stuck around for the last bits tonight. Please join us again next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday for the next episode of Advantage in Paradise. If you want to see how I make these in stupid minis and other things, check out Relaxing in Paradise, which is now every Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also are playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, where I will not be playing any. I'll only be playing it on stream, so come join us for that. And then Sundays for the Tim and Shannon Power Hour, where they discuss the most recent episode, talk speculation, and have some deep dive questions with members of the community about RP and all things TTRPG. So check all those.
Next week.
Except for next week. So come back
September 6th.
Come back September 6th for the Tim and Shannon Power Hour, where they'll recap 2 episodes, do 2 speculations, and they'll do 2. No, they won't. They'll do whatever they want. It's their show.
Yeah, we speculate on what happened in the episode we just recapped.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So it should be a good time, folks. If you just showed up with the raid and you like what you see, come join us. It's a good time to jump into the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. Relaxing, Aaron, having advantage in Paradise. Have a good night.
Get out of here! Get us out of here!
Bye! I'm just gonna